Hello, friends. Semigram Do It TCGs here with Tamer Talk once again. Glad to be here for another episode. Who do I have with me?
Not about
And not Randy.
Randy's not here, guys. Sorry.
I'm a little sad. I'm sad. It's okay.
It's the most hectic time in Randy's life in the last 2 years. So we'll cut him a little slack for this week.
Well, it's been hectic for him and still is. What have y'all been up to?
What have I been up to? Oh yeah, you go.
Just work. Mainly work. I'm doing something that I've been telling myself personally. I've been doing something that I've been telling myself I was going to do for a while, and I've began to purge my board game collection. So I got into board gaming around 2014, 2013, 2014, something like that, with Manhattan Project and Robinson Crusoe, and have been collecting. And I think, like a lot of other board gamers, you kind of go through seasons. Some people are collectors, some people just like to play them and kind of chase after the new hotness. And so for the longest time, I think I kind of fell into the collector. I just had them for the sake of having them. But as my kids are getting older, getting less and less time to play the games that I want to play, or, play games in general, just with my life. And so I've begun the process of purging. So starting small, I think I've gotten rid of 25. So last time I counted, I have a little over 300, which is not the most I've ever had. When we moved to the house, I got rid of about 100. I think around 450 was the highest I've ever had. But I mean, that's counting every board game. I think at one point I had like 6 versions of Phase 10. I mean, so if you reduce that, remove duplicates, remove expansion.
One copy was already one too many.
Right. It's a little over probably 250, something like that. But yeah, it's been fun. That's given me an opportunity to kind of go through my collection, look at my minis, send some minis off to be painted, and try to. Yep, there's one right there.
Look, all the Fallout ones are primed. We're ready to go.
Love it.
And so yeah, that's pretty much what. Besides work and doing a little housekeeping and kind of purging my collection, those are really the things that have been taking a lot of my time.
Fair enough. Good times. Yeah, it's one of those things. The purge is sometimes painful and frustrating, but it's also fun just going through everything again one way or the other.
Yeah, it was fun listening to my wife because she was helping me value, because I don't have Facebook or anything, and so she was doing like Facebook Marketplace, and she was like, I don't understand why some of these have value and some of these don't. And I was like, well, because a lot of them are not in print, or they're in between prints. I said, so a lot of, when it comes to selling board games, it's all about the timing. Is it between a print run? Is it, what edition is it? So I've got one game that I've got a first edition. We looked it up and it's on the 3rd edition at this point. So, just being.
And are there mistakes in that edition and a reason that someone wouldn't want it, as opposed to a newer edition?
Right.
Because that's happened to me before too. I remember Gareth, I sold Yamatai. And when I sold it, there were still copies available. So it was like under MSRP. Now a used copy is like 90 some bucks on eBay. So did I miss out on like 45, 50 bucks? I for sure did. But I'm on the opposite spectrum, which goes into like what I've been doing. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum, which is I've never had a large collection. I've always had, like, Sammy, your shelves behind you I have literally like 2 of those shelves. I have 1 Calyx shelf. That's it. That's all the games I'll keep. Now, I like trading card games all go in like actual like card game storage. And so they take up maybe like 1 or 2 bins on that shelf. But I've only like, and Gareth and I have talked about this, I've only ever kept maybe 20. I distinctly remember messaging you, did I not, when I was like over 20 games at one point? And I was like, because if a game is not played like on the regular here, it's immediately gone. I have no desire to, I am not a collector of anything other than maybe some comic books that are both financially valuable and sentimental to me personally. Like I have a free comic book day comic that I constantly get asked, why do you keep that? Like it's not really worth a lot. It was a free comic book day comic. It's signed by Jim Chung. That's why. So it means something to me because Jim Chung is like my favorite artist. And he signed that book for me. And there's something personal written on it. So like, that's why I keep things. I don't keep games that don't get played. Like I'm looking at my collector's ready, set, bet. Gareth? That's $400 on eBay right now. I'm going, why am I keeping this? I'm at 16 games on my shelf. Why am I keeping this game?
Yeah.
I could have $400.
You're not over.
Well, that's and it. The other problem is, this is. I have played DC Legendary every single day for the last 5 weeks. Since I got my early copy, my son has asked me to play it with him every single day. That's not a complaint, but my kid is 11, and we were at a point where before every game I owned had to have solo. Now I'm looking going, they don't. Because there are at least 2 people in this house that will play literally every game I put on the shelf with me. So like, I mean, even yesterday, he's like, I want to build a Wildhearts deck. Because me and Randy are always talking about it around him. You know, he's like, I want to build my own. And I was like, hey man, here's the cards. You go ahead and cook. Get you some. So yeah, I'm in the opposite. Like between, I mean, it has been a summer of like work stuff, yes, but every non-work minute, I feel like last year, Gareth, you and I were on the phone like every minute of every day. But it wasn't just us, because John was there, Randy was there, Chase was there. And this summer, I feel like I've just actually spent the whole summer like with my kids, but it doesn't really feel that different, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's been basketball, work, painting. Calvin and I are watching Cobra Kai. He's never seen it. I've seen the whole thing. Calvin loves martial arts, so we're watching Cobra Kai.
Nice.
He loves the Karate Kid. He loves all the Karate Kid stuff. So like, I was like, you've never even seen the best Karate Kid there is. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, there's a TV show, my guy. There is a TV show. So we're watching that. And then yeah, just getting in stuff for Wildhearts. I put this up on the wall the other day. I kind of love the anthology thing there. Of each of the boxes next to each other, and the way that they fit together like that. That's just a cool thing. Also, because you love him, look who made the sideboard. Of course, here's a Badoo. No one loves him.
Who?
No one loves Badoo, but he's on
I've
the
never heard.
sideboard. Yeah, no one has. But yeah, I mean it's busy. We're all parents, so I know I've said this to you guys before, but it's like days feel super long, but the years feel really short. It's August 23rd. I'm over here going like, oh wow, that was a day. Like we got a lot done, and then I'm like, oh wow, it's the 22nd of August. What the hell? Here we are.
That's about right.
Sam,
What
what are
about
you up
you?
to?
Well, I've been, you know, the easy go-to answer that's always true is, work feels like it is everything. But then been at, like I've got the two D&D games I'm in. I've had both of those in the last couple weeks. I had another. There's a group of guys that I used to really regularly once a month play board games or card games or something. It started off as a home hero clicks game, turned into a Star Wars Destiny monthly game for a while. And then just kind of became a hey, we're going to play just whatever board games we feel like playing any given night. Um, which it hadn't been as consistently on as it had been in past years, but I made a point of like, okay, he texted me about it. I'm going to go last night. And so that was a good time to get together with those fellas again and play a game I hadn't played before. That all I don't think any of us had actually played it, and we all ended up really enjoying it. So yeah, it was just nice to get together with them. Though I was also exhausted because I spent 7 hours helping some folks move yesterday too, and boy, howdy, do I feel it.
Get a better body. I told you that before we were.
I'm working on it. I'm trying. I told you, and I told you that's what I was getting at when I mentioned that Thursday had been leg day, so I was already in a little bit of a spot. So I'm trying to do the get a better body thing. It just is not super quick.
I had that last year. I said that to someone. They're like, "Well, because of where we live, they're like, well, because when we used to do I think this was last year and the year before, but when we used to do like our late night staff meetings, I would always just be walking around at night. So I'd be like on my phone, just walking around the neighborhood in the dark. Everyone's like, "What are you doing? What is that?" Yeah, I'm just walking around. That noise was a car. I'm just walking around, getting steps in. People be like, "Well, I can't do that because like it snows and like outside." You know how cheap a walking pad is, y'all? You get a walking pad on Amazon for like $60. I've had the same one for 3 years now. $64 on Amazon. Just get yourself a walking pad. I don't want to hear that it's raining or snowing. Get yourself a better body. Start walking.
What I need to get back on is there was a chunk of time where I was in a significantly better shape, lost a bunch of weight, gotten better health overall, and then a couple years later, the doctor's like, "Hey, what happened?" And I was like, "Well, I lost a bunch of weight, and then I found it." Um, but just a recumbent stationary bike was a huge part of that, um, because there would be times where I would end up on that thing for hour and a half, 2.5 hours playing Xbox because it was one of the recumbent sit back kind of bikes. And I could still be keeping pace and just playing Madden or something on there to distract myself from the fact that I was getting exercise. And that helped a lot when I did it. And I just need to do it.
You could also do that on a walking.
I could. I like walking even less, though. I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah, but walking is better for you. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just like the best exercise, literally. And anyone
Yeah.
that's going to argue with that is incorrect. It is the best.
I have seen the support for that. I know it's technically true.
Yeah, it's the best.
I just hate it.
Biking, you're just moving your legs. You know, it's not doing anything for your stomach. You know,
Yeah.
for your back. It's not doing anything for your back.
It's actually with the recumbent bike, it may actually be hurting my back. I don't know.
Yeah, and your back is your most important piece of the whole dang thing. It holds the whole.
And my back already sucks, so that doesn't help
Get a
me
better.
either. You know what? That one is a slightly harder prospect, but that is a whole different can of.
So real talk. Graduating out of my like MMORPG days, I had what I felt like was like the weakest back and core I've ever had. I switched. I have a giant purple Wildhearts themed core ball. I say Wildhearts themed because I wrote WH on it, and it's just a big purple ball.
You know what? That makes sense.
So, no, but it's a giant core ball. I do use it for sit-ups and stuff, but it replaced, like when we're doing stuff like this, I don't want to make noise because we're recording, so I'm in a chair. But normally the chair is like not what I use. It's normally the core ball. So like,
Mm,
hey, you get a better back. Can't order
can of
one on
worms.
Amazon.
Can of
I
worms.
looked on Amazon. You can't just order one. You got to actually like do the work.
That's tacky.
I don't know.
It's tacky. Tacky. All right. Well, that's good catching up. Sounds like pretty solid weeks, gaming and otherwise for everybody going on. I know we had both last time and then kind of spelled out a little bit more actually on the um, campaign itself for Kickstarter. Just some updates for the TCG. Is there anything you want to say about any of that tonight, or should we hop right into our main discussion?
Card quote finalization. Cards should be in production. I think Gareth playmats are the last thing.
Fair enough. I dig it.
There you go.
Well, we've got an interesting, it should be kind of fun discussion to get into tonight. Like I got to lock in now. Like I was kind of leisurely up until now, but we've got some. We're going to change up the order a little bit because the cards of the week kind of play directly into our discussion. So how do we want to hop right into that? Do we want to start with the cards of the week or talk about them when we get to them and point them out at that?
Well, let's say congrats to Chase. For starters.
You know what? That's a good point.
Can we say congrats to Chase?
It hurts me, but yes.
So Chase, I did have the pleasure of judging Chase and John's matchup in the finals. And it was pretty close, but Chase did take it 2-0. Now, of course, he made the mistake of using tactics and playing might without using the Chrism. So I don't know what he was thinking. Obviously, how he won is, improbable given those choices. But he did. And it was a pleasure to watch those two. One of the nice things, if I could just for a moment say this, because John and Chase are A, so familiar with each other, and B, familiar with the game, I didn't really have a lot of judging to do, guys. I basically got to watch two people very familiar with the game, very familiar with each other, play Wildhearts at like a really great skill level and good game each other, through it. Now, Randy was there in spirit, cheating, because Randy basically did stack the judge's deck against John. Basically, every judge's deck flip was, John was cursing it. And we all know that that was Randy's fault, which is another reason he's not here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Howard. But yeah, so after Chase won, you guys know when we run these events, we listen to feedback from players. We have a personal relationship with so many people in the community that play these things. Gareth, Randy, myself. Before he was playing Chase, we'll reach out and we'll say, "Hey, man, that was a great game to watch. Hate to see it end like that, but it was a good game to watch." Or, "Oh man, that play in round 3 you had was something special." And they'll usually share opinions with us about cards or the game or whatever. And so of the people participating, we have a pretty hefty list of cards that Gareth, how am I supposed to frame this list?
Yeah, the perception of cards that need to be banned or restricted. And, yeah, I don't.
Wildhearts card pool is going to be like 4 cards, y'all. That's the list of cards that didn't make it on this list. Randy and I made it, and it's shorter than the list of cards that made it on.
Yeah, I was about to ask, how many currently right now, how many cards are there?
It's such a long list. Yeah, but I have to exclude the familiars and the fields though. So if it's lists of like the 4 style cards, there are more cards listed than not listed in the current pool. And then when I look at familiars, I'm shocked at who's listed. Like genuinely to my core. And when you look at fields, it's a shock to no one, like there are 4 vanilla fields. And when I say vanilla, they have no text printed on them, no special rules. Okay. None of those were listed. Of course they're not. So if we remove those from the pool, the only one that was listed, I think there were 2 that were listed. One of them was genuinely like eyebrow raising. And so we can give context for these as we go through the list. But the reason I'm doing a lot of talking is because my card of the week is actually the first card we're going to discuss.
We're just going down the list.
We're going down the list.
We're starting with the big guy.
Identify our card of the week when we get to it.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Start with the big guy.
So, if in editing we want to have like a banner that's like card of the week, for whatever one that really jazz up the one. Okay. Prism, guys. My card of the week this week is Prism. Prism made the list after the tournament. I was shocked to see it. But reports have come in that Prism, despite not winning this tournament, and actually losing to Chase in the finals, Prism is the most overpowered familiar. It is busted. It's not even close. That was, I'm using a direct quote. We're not going to call out who said these things because I don't want to embarrass people. But just know that your feedback is going to be talked about. It's not even close. So Prism,
and to be clear, deep down we know this is Randy's.
All of it. Know that every balanced decision you don't like is in fact at its core a Randy decision. We've known that for 2 years, right, Gareth? Since like 2024, it became well known that Randy hates all of your favorite cards.
Mm-hmm.
Another reason he's not here for this discussion. So, Prism being my card of the week for a few reasons. Talked about this when we were talking about draft. I am at the point, guys, where I don't like Prism. I floated that the next Lops event, I just want to have it. I do want to have it banned. There's nothing overpowered about Prism. There's not. It has a base 8 power, and that is great. That is great. It opens the door for all of the might cards in the game. 8 is the highest printed power anyone has seen. Guys, that's all it does. I know you think it does more, but that's all it does. It has a higher ceiling and floor of power. That's it. I know you see debut gain block. Pretty irrelevant. It's pretty irrelevant. In Sammy, you played against JJ. I'll use the JJ deck strategy of like spamming special attacks. If I'm going to be whipping 6 special attacks at you, that Prism's block means nothing to me. One special attack was absorbed, and that's it. That's all it is. Now, if you're saying, well, he also can't be KO'd, help me out. How many cards KO familiars? There's Sune Stick, which costs 3. We're only talking what's in the card pool, because that's all anyone else knows. So I have to assume that's how this is framed, right? And Rapture. And Airing. Well, Airing, there's no way Airing could have 8 power or more right now in the card pool, is there, when you play it? When you play Airing is a 3 power at most card right now, yes? So even though Airing says KO a creature, it was never going to be able to KO the Chrism. Stop pretending that ignoring KOs is that big of a difference in games. Sune Stick. If you, Sammy, have a +6 power Chrism on the board, and I can swing a familiar or ally into its field and KO it, it doesn't KO, but it loses 6 power. That is still equal to me removing one of your large allies.
Yeah.
And if it didn't generate block and it didn't ignore KOs, the Rapture ally still wouldn't KO it. It's not wild. So pointing to us and saying in your critique of Chrism, he's busted, guys, he can't even be KO'd. I'm looking at the card pool and I'm going, what cards are you talking about? What card are you looking at going, oh, God, if only that could hit the Chrism? Whereas all of the cards that people currently use, and again, Rapture Ally is great, Sune Stick is awesome, but as I said, I'd still Sune Stick your Chrism if he was plus like 5 power. Again, if I can swing a 4 or 5 power creature over there and reset your Chrism, we're cooking. That's a 10 power swing. I'm doing it. And I got to move my guy. What cards are people using to remove familiars? Skyer, Momentum Shift, those all still work on the Chrism.
Yep.
And all I have to do is remove your block, which again, a single special attack can do.
Yep.
What are we talking about here? So Chrism is my card of the week because my frustration at this point has boiled over the pot. I'm tired of seeing Chrism and being told that Chrism is overpowered. When we look at the card list, and we've given you, the player, more answers to Chrism than any other card in the game. You don't like Chrism? Why aren't you running the Swamp? You don't like Chrism? Why aren't you using Burberry Springs? He's not aquatic. So they're what, never going to put the Chrism in the 4 VP field? You know, the Swamp I get is only a 3, but then you're pigeonholing where the Chrism can even go. Like, you have all of these tools to deal with the Chrism, and you don't deal with the Chrism. That's not on the dev team. That's on you not looking creatively at, like, here's the card pool, here's how we answer the Chrism. So, I'm at this point, guys. I told Randy that, I told Gareth that. I'm in the camp. Next event, Chrism will be banned. Just to be banned. If I had my way. I don't have my way. But if I had my way, that is what would happen because I'm tired of it. Those were the reasonings, though, that it's busted. Is the block and the ignoring KO.
Well, you think about it, too. The previous events before this last one, you know, I brought the Chrism Glaciafly combo to 4 events. Yeah, I won 2 of them, but I also didn't win the other 2.
There were also a ton of other Chrisms that didn't.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, it is. I feel like this has come up multiple times before. Is it good? Yeah, everything technically is when it comes down to it.
If any familiar didn't feel good, we would have a problem.
Yeah.
And if they weren't fun, we would have an even bigger problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, no, I'm not saying he's not good. I'm not saying he's not fun. I'm just saying, like, every one of these events we run, and, you know, I know Gareth has talked about this. I know Randy has talked about this. When Chase was doing these videos, I know Chase talked about this. You can't keep giving you answers to cards, and you don't use the answers and then complain about the card. Gareth doesn't even know what to say. Look at him. He's just like seething.
No, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I get it. If if you're looking at the starter product and you have of the 4 familiars and you don't look at the whole card list, you can look at the power and say, okay, well, the Chrism is busted or the Chrism is more powerful, whatever. But it's one of those situations where I actually look at the Chrism and think that that's like one of the most, I'm going to say this and I shouldn't, but I'm going to, one of the most boring, generic, regular creatures to get started with. And it's like a stepping stone. Yes, it has its functions, it has its things, but for me, when we made the decision to move him to the starter product, it was an idea of, okay, what are some creatures that can break the rule? What are some creatures that can't be KO'd? For me personally,
it was baby's first familiar.
Right. As a player, it's like this is an introduction to, okay, this is what Might's about. Now let me see what else Might has. And it's the fact that people haven't gotten out of that, or I don't know if it's a comfort thing. I don't know if it's a familiarity thing where people are just so used to playing the Chrism and they don't want to experiment, or they don't want to, because it's an easy 8 power.
But that's the weird part, is every other style people have had no problem from day one, Foundations, moving away from Infernander and trying Skyson and Rapture, moving away from Owlusion, trying Trossum and the Bat, moving away from the Ferret and trying the Jelly and the Glaciafly. No one has ever had a problem moving away from the starter, except who are two of the lowest played familiars, Tornado and
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I genuinely, that part I do not get. And as Chase showed, any skilled player is going to be able to do more with every non-Chrism familiar. Like, the real strength of the Chrism is that it breaks a foundational piece that we've told people from day one. Wildhearts, you build the deck around the familiar, and the Chrism is one of those creatures where it's like, yeah, but you don't really have to. That's it. That's its real strength, is like, you could play a Might and whatever deck and build everything around the other familiar. And Chrism could just exist and have success. That's it. That's its real superpower. But yeah, that was my card of the week. Sorry to get so incensed, guys, but it's now driven me mad.
I mean, we've talked about Chrism so many times. Like, it just makes sense that it finally got you there.
I genuinely saw the feedback, and I did a Star Trek moment, but it was like Chrism, you know? It's just, oh, I couldn't help it, guys. We'll jump to number 2 on the list, though, if that's okay.
I'm good with.
Which is another familiar. This one did win the last Lops event.
It did.
And that is the Vesperoon. This one making the list shocked me, because it is rarely played in these events. I think the last time we saw it played before this event, correct me if I'm wrong, was Jonesy running his Tactics deck. The feedback on the Vesperoon is that it needs a major nerf. Because this printed 3-power familiar can be deployed anywhere, gentlemen, and can trigger the debut of an ally you have in play. So we need to nerf it, apparently. We need to figure out how to do that. Now, just as a reminder, correct me if I'm wrong, but currently round 1, this does nothing, right? For the first of 4 possible rounds, maybe 3, this familiar literally just comes onto the board with 3 power and does nothing else.
There are some edge cases, but pretty much.
What are the edge cases? When do you have an ally on the board that you can trigger?
Well, if something silly happens and you have to redeploy him or something, I'm just trying to be generous.
Like on
Okay.
turn 1, currently, the only thing you can trigger would be a mirror image, and a mirror image doesn't have a debut. That would be the only.
So you breeze off him and then trigger the breeze off again to redeploy him again?
Yeah, yeah.
That round 1 ceiling is real low, guys.
Just ain't happening.
I think the thing that surprises me the most about this card being on the list is
I don't.
it is so preventable. This one is so it literally the urgency of the Vesperoon is up to your opponent. Like if you bring the Vesperoon, your ceiling is 100% determined by your opponent. Is your opponent going to leave things for you to set up? Yes, there's edge cases where you might decree, or you might try to force something, or things like that, but 90% of the time that ceiling is determined by, did your opponent bring something to respond to that? Are they going to be aggressive, and are they going to, you play an ally, they're going to turn and they're going to KO, they're going to knock it out, they're going to whatever, move it to another field that's not, that has no urgency or has no efficiency.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say, for like Vesperoon, I feel like common knowledge, just like common sense when you play it. You see Vesperoon across the table. You need to be mulliganing for a hand that allows you to play the first round possibly as slow as molasses. Because if the first thing your opponent does is drop a hat, you need to then also stall to see what it is they're going to put on the board. Because God forbid it's something like hat whistle, also they can pull out like a terpian and a Fuegel. You need to be ready to answer that. And if you're not ready to answer that, that is on you. There are answers for that. In every style, there are answers for that.
Right.
And if you see it on the opposite side of the board, this is how you play. And if they don't hat, that's okay. Then you play the round that you have.
Yeah, that exact combo happened with the semifinal game that I watched, and Chase got 4 points out of it because he was able to get the Scorpion out. He was able to trigger it. It sat there unanswered, and then literally was able to hit that combo again. And so it's like, again, it's, you see it, you have to be able to respond. And I think that's the for me, the exciting thing about Wildhearts at times is you come into a game with a certain play pattern and a certain idea, and the game forces you to pivot. Okay, I have to now respond to that. I can continue to play the game in my head that I had brought my deck for. You likely will lose. There are certain decks that is just the name of the game. If you do not pivot and if you do not react to what your opponent's doing, not a solo, like it's not a puzzle to figure out. Like there are interactive things that you have to react to, and if you don't, unfortunately, it can be abused. It can, but again, that's not the state of the game. It's, you didn't respond to the Vesperoon, and now it just got 4 points because it triggered the Terpian twice.
If you're coming into this like Magic or Riftbound and you're thinking like, I'm just gonna run my deck and I don't need to answer anything you say on the board, you may run into issues. There are some decks we all agree can get away with that at times. And then there are some decks that can't. Like, this Vesperoon is one of those where, yes, you need, if you don't like the idea of that Terpian being triggered in round 2 and round 3 and round 4, get it out of there. I don't know. I don't see it because, like I said, it's similar to the Rapture, and we heard this. The Rapture is not on this list, but it was at one time. It was after one event that the Rapture was ridiculous. The Vesperoon is very similar to the Rapture, where like I feel like round 1, it's a very low ceiling. And that's kind of what the player who brings a Vesperin is giving up, is like, round 1, I'm not going to have a lot of juice with the Vesperin. And if you don't want him to have any juice in round 2, 3, or 4, as Gareth said, that's up to you. There are other things you can do with it. Gareth, you and I both talked about this. Why are you all not using Burberry Springs? Because all of those debuts, like the Turpion and the Skyer and stuff that you're like afraid of, those aren't aquatic creatures, my guy. Lunos, those aren't aquatic creatures. They're not re-triggering that debut. Chase, you Chase played with the Vesperoon, so feel free to comment.
I think it is one of those things where, like, you can absolutely have a turn or a set of turns where you just get wrecked by it. But it can be worked around if you're ready for it. I agree completely with everything that's been said. Like, I didn't feel like anything was unfair about the way the card plays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, Sammy, what's the third card on the list?
another familiar. Our last familiar, actually.
So only 3 out of the 16 are busted, guys. That's pretty good.
And I have to admit, this one was kind of shocking to me.
The reasoning for it is even more shocking. But
Go ahead.
So I will read exactly as it sits before me. Magiby is broken.
So now the justification that was sent for this is that in one game Magiby got 4 VP. That's it. If that is the ceiling of the Magiby, that's not very good. If all you're doing with the Magiby is getting 4 VP in a game, I'll just again reference Gareth, what was that beautiful special familiar in the starter product again? What's the starter familiar for special?
Oh, fair.
So Ferrotoon ramps up. As you're ramping, Ferrotoon gets you 3 VP. So already we're just 1 shy of the Magiby. But then he also has this beautiful thing where he seeks at least then 4 times during the game. So at worst, we're comparing Magiby and Ferrotoon here to Magiby has 1 more power. Gets 1 more VP, but Ferrotoon draws you 4 cards at worst.
Well, and to me, the Magiby can also potentially, if you're not playing a lot of magic in your deck, if you hit the wrong card, you could end up being like, "Oh, I had this great hand," and then you've got to throw away a card to pick up what you revealed.
If everyone listened to Randy last week, there is a Badoo Magiby deck that I run only to annoy him. I love the deck, but it's usually to annoy Randy. You drop the B out first. You look at the top card, you're, oh no, it's not magic. You discard an item card to put that card in your hand, and then you put the Badger out, and then you shuffle the item card back into your deck and you draw. This is not even a like wild or great combo, by the way. It's just funny to do to Randy because it irritates him. But it's more to the point of like, if your complaint of the B is, oh my god, guys, he has access to 4 VP over the course of the game.
Now, another the friendly KO effect mill.
Nope, they didn't do that at all. That wasn't even brought.
Yeah, like that's neat too. Like that's kind of cool.
If you're top decking someone's like any of the other 43 busted cards on this list.
I mean, yeah, it can be a pain in the butt, 100%.
It feels good because you were you were trying to trigger your Amptar's KO anyways. You were, whatever you were doing, right? You were sack bonding your own Pengost, like you were already cooking. That's an additional oil on the fire.
Yeah.
But that wasn't brought up. It was the 4 VP that was brought up, guys.
Yeah.
If that's the concern with the B, you've never seen the B play in a mill deck. That is when you should be concerned about the B. Because when you're ambushing out a bunch of one-costers with KO effects, and then you're dropping your own Rapture ally to knock out all of your own ones and a bunch of your opponents, and then you're also milling because of all of the KO effects that are popping off, that's when you worry about the Magi-B. The 1 to 4 VP or 0 to 4 VP a game, that's not it. That's not it. I actually was surprised.
It's not even guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed. And honestly, as you pointed out, sometimes if you don't top deck a magic card and you don't have the ability of like the Badger to recur cards and your hand is like really well set up, you don't want to get rid of those cards.
Yeah, you might just be ruining your own.
And because you're revealing, you're giving your opponent some information, which anyone who's ever played a TCG knows is not ideal. So, like, that's part of it. And obviously, Ferocity already has problems with cycling through its deck too fast if you're not careful. I was shocked that the B having a printed 5 power wasn't brought up because for a long time, we debated on that being like borderline. Was 5 too much?
Like that?
Could it have been 4? You know what I mean? Like, that was a borderline decision.
Like, it having 5 and the mill are the only things that would get me even close, and I don't think it.
No, this was a really weak. I'm gonna assume that this was one of the closer games with the B, and this was a B clutch points. Is, Gareth brought this up during the last one, right? Some of these can just leave a bad taste at the end of the match,
which is fair. I mean, that's always
no judgment, but that's not busted. Not busted.
All right. You want to go to the next?
Yeah.
We are done with familiars. Would we want to do fields next, or do we want to do those last? Because there's only a few fields at the bottom of that list.
Let's get the fields done with first.
Get them out of the way?
Yeah.
Okay. Field number 1. Garrett, do you remember which one it was?
Yeah, the Crag.
But it can't be busted, guys. Everyone uses it.
Do you remember the Crag?
Do you remember how many events we had where everyone just had a Crag? What's the problem? Everyone has access to the same card. So the context behind this is, I feel like I can't play any of my cards. Why is your deck all one-costers, would be my question. I looked. Why do you have 14 one-costers in your deck? Where are your 3-cost allies? I'm looking at you, Jay. Sammy, you know this. He complained about the Crag every day, all day. So this complaint, I feel like, is home for him. Crag is only 4 points. I get if someone's running, like, when you were running your Glaciafly Chrism, I get that 11 power in a Crag where they have to play 3-costers or whatever, or move creatures, seems a lot. But the Snydro and Badu are in the game now. They're answers to the Crag. How many other cards entered the game that became answers to the Crag? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And during the current event, the real head scratcher for me, for the Crag, I don't know if you guys, when you saw that on the list, I don't know if you guys felt the same. This event, guys, had all of the fields shifting. So the crag wouldn't have even been the problem this event, that it wasn't every other event, because the crag was constantly shifting. So you would, let's just for instance, the crag is field 2. You would be playing creatures to field 3 this round. Then at the start of next round, the crag moves, and now field 3 is the crag. Well, you've already got creatures there. That one was really puzzling. And again,
Yeah.
I feel like all of the fields that I would say are most powerful aren't even used by people. So obviously, I don't know what I'm talking about. But like the Sealant exists now in Might. So, you can get to the crag pretty easily. Snydro can move and remove your opponent's stuff from the crag. Tarantula can rip your opponent's larger allies out of the crag. Right? So, like, to me, was really confused as to why the crag was complained about. And there were actually a couple of people playing Owl Illusion, which we've all talked about before, but like Owl Illusion is a crag cure-all. Like, you just start moving things you played last round from other fields into the crag,
Yeah.
That was a goofy one for me. Any thoughts?
I mean, I sit here as somebody who has made extensive use of the crag in previous events. I mean, it was handy for what I was trying to do, but people who wanted to get into the crag got into the crag. It's a little bit harder, I guess, without inspiration, but not.
You're talking about one move over the course
But that's
of 4
one
rounds,
move.
right?
Yeah, a little bit harder.
And everyone knew that they weren't going to have inspiration, so who
Yeah.
wasn't planning their deck around the idea that they didn't have the free move? Next one, though, is my absolute favorite.
Okay, I'm utterly perplexed by this one. I don't even know what to do with.
There's some context here.
Okay.
So the ranch is overpowered. Now, the reasoning behind this, and Randy and I were talking about this, the reason behind this was because someone went against the ranch and the plateau in the space at the same time. So, for context, for those listening, ranch will come up on the screen, but the ranch came with the Tamer Challenge bundle. It's a 4VP field. If you happen to win the field by more than 4 power, you get an additional point. So it could be worth 5 to you. So if the Windy Plateau and the ranch are on the board at the same time and both are active, that's like the ceiling of 10 points over 2 fields. That seemed like the crux of the argument was like, imagine a scenario, guys, where those 2 are in play and you're losing them and it's 10 points to your opponent. Now imagine all fields go live and one of them is the rooftops. Now there's 14 points in play. But I feel like, and I mean this with all like love and respect, that is a skill issue situation. If there's 14 points on the board, I'm usually feeling really good about getting 9 points. 10 points. Like, I'm not sad that 14 points are live. Does that make sense?
And even then, I mean, yes, okay, sure, 5%, but is 14 really that much different than 13?
I don't know. When Randy was here the other day, we were talking about this. I think it's just the general shift. You know what we were talking about during the last cast about switching the release schedule for like Wildhearts, and we can dig into that after we go through the card list, because that was on the questions I saw, Sam. One of the things that Randy and I were talking about, and I pointed to as like proof of my feeling of I'm not worried about a solved meta. Now with Wildhearts, I would not be, because the game is designed where you can't and kick rock. But do you remember, and you played in it, but do you remember even just a couple events ago, Sammy, we had tons of people running decks with 2 and 3 VP fields and trying to like muddy up the game and slow it down and win on points in their deck. We've already had shifts in just the tiny card pool we have of how people perceive and feel the fields and the familiars and how they match familiars up with fields. So I can understand why getting blindsided and losing a round and they got 14 points feels like, oh wow, that's overpowered. Why? Because the ranch gave 1 extra VP? I don't think so. But I empathize with getting blindsided for 10 or 14 points or whatever it was. I do.
Oh, and I mean, stuff like that's a huge part of, which reminds me, I need to actually post this. I'm being a bad Samuel Graham does TCGs. That I think again to my game with Chase is, yeah, I mean, he got me in 2 rounds. Like, spoiler alert, like I just got wrecked on what I was able to score. Yeah, sure, okay, that kind of sucked in the moment, but at the same time, it was just it's how the game worked out. Like, I don't feel like there was anything unfair about the way the field scoring worked out or anything like that. It just is what it is. Sometimes you get blindsided. Yeah, it sucks for a minute, but honestly, after a minute, I just kind of had to look back and be impressed and just kind of applaud.
Yeah, so like what shocked me, and again, I said this to Randy when he was here, but what shocked me was like the fields that are being called out are like pretty commonly used fields that I feel like everyone knows how to play into or play around. Primus Forest wasn't talked about. Granted, like no one used it. The swamp was not talked about. Again, no one used it. Like, guys, use the tools that are there. Burberry Springs, that was actually used, and no one said anything about having all their debuts canceled in that field. And I watched people, guys, stew when they were playing John. With like, I'm not going to get a debut in that field. Nope, don't like that. And that field wasn't talked about at all. That's worth 4. 4 is 4 is a good number of points. Like, you're not sad that you lost all your debuts there. For as much as I was told by a different podcast about Wildhearts that Fortellus Canyon was busted, that's in 0 decks.
No, never heard of it.
No, I was told it was cracked, I believe was the word used, for might decks. So
never heard of that. Sounds.
And then in this event, the Roost guys showed up 0 times. We couldn't get away from it. During the qualifier, I felt like every other deck had a Roost in it. And this event, no one chose to bring the Roost. They're all like, "Nah, we're over the Roost, guys. We're done."
For me, it's not even so much that I was over the Roost. It's just like, do I really want both of these special event fields happening at the same time? Do I really want to do that?
Yeah, absolutely, you do.
I chose.
The B triggering again. 4 VP was already busted, guys. Imagine it's 8.
But I wasn't playing the B.
You were playing the Spider. You get to move another guy to your field. Hey, you actually could have used the Roost deck cycling in a couple of your matches.
That's probably true.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I
say probably. That's definitely true.
We can move on from the fields, but yeah, there were only 2 fields mentioned. Both of them were equally head scratchers for us. Sorry, guys, we did not.
Like for me, I'll final thought about the field. Like, I kind of get the Crag. Like, I don't, but I do. The ranch just baffles me even compared to other ones that I don't think are busted, but I do think are I would note before I noted the ranch. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
the ranch one again. The confluence of it and other things has to be true.
That's fair.
But
Now, I could also see if you got Magibede and on the ranch, that could be particularly fresh.
yeah, like I said, both of the fields just made me like, what?
Yeah.
We're not playing the same game.
All
All
right.
right,
Into the decks.
here we
Oh, boy.
starting off with a banger. Or basically no one uses
I like it.
strength training.
It's a great card. What are you talking?
Nope, strength training is too powerful. And actually, the request on strength training was actually banning it. Context behind that, I was given very little. I was told it in a word vomit personally. That strength training needs to be banned. The complaints for strength training were lumped in with a few other cards, but the ability to play behind, I can definitely tell as someone who played against Chase because it was a strength training Kindolf complaint here. I mean, we could say that about every Tamer card. That's the problem. Is like, you could tell me that strength training plus Kindolf is like, oh, he gets 3 power and he draws a card, and it's like, okay, but like this card gives him 1 power plus 1 power, and he draws a card, and it did other stuff. Like, what are we doing here? Like, this is going to be a theme as we go through this list. Everyone hates the 0 cost cards. By hate, I mean loves.
And strength training, like half of the time, again, this is a card that I personally am a fan of. I rather like it. But it gets extra usage if played on an ally, which I think I have done exactly one time in every game I've played. Like virtually every time I've played it, I put it on a familiar.
Yeah, I like to give it to allies that have KO effects.
Which makes sense. Absolutely.
So
I like to give it to allies that I just want to recur with self-ambient.
Well, yeah, sure. And then the support is just great.
Yeah, the support's good too.
Round 1, yes. I don't know that I like the support in like round bleep.
3 or 4, probably not.
But yeah, I mean, one of the age-old. You remember when we were doing like the starter deck tournaments and stuff, Gareth? One of my favorite, like, oh, they get it, was someone would start off with like might specials, Sammy, and they would strength training. Like Ferrotoon.
Mm.
And then their opponent goes. And their opponent blows 2 resources on something, they got nothing left, right? They play like the Ferocity Tortu, I don't, something. And the Might Special player then is like, okay, we're gonna take flight. We're gonna get that strength training as a resource. And we're gonna swing our familiar over here. And then we're gonna pass first. You know what I mean? Like they just those bang bang plays round 1.
Sure.
Like listen, strength training's never used correctly. Everyone blowing it on familiars, I don't care. I'll go down to the ends of the earth. If your opponent is using strength training on the Kindolf, good. The Kindolf can only have plus 10 power, guys. They're using up one of their... So every time you target it, it gets a power and draws a card. So every time they target it with anything that gives it power, they are reducing the efficacy of the Kindolf. Single strength training is 3 out of its possible plus 10 power. It's not worth it to be giving it plus power, not get the plus power, but just draw the card. So again, every time they use a strength training on a Kindolf, you should be smiling. That's not a good play. and move along. Every time they use an on Ignition, you should know that they probably have a Sylph Amel in their hand. You're going to knock out Ignition, and then they're just going to play it with block and give their familiars another +1. You know, like there's stuff happening. Like, just they're not doing it right. Just let them use strength training the way they're using it. Which is actually one of the only familiars I would say you should use it on, because it's usually +4, not +2. Terrachik needs to get got, guys. This card,
I don't think so.
This card staff got 2 different complaints about, for context. Terrachik is just too cheap, and it protects too much. I can give you... Okay. So, Terrachik is a 1-cost card for 2 power with Guardian. Its debut is that it gives block to another creature. The complaint being issued here is that whoever was doing it was blocking whatever was already behind the Terrachik, making it even harder to get at, because the person would have to remove the Terrachik and then remove the block to get at that creature. I understand why that would be frustrating. That's not actually the power of the Terrachik, though. The power of the Terrachik is blocking the creature here and protecting the creature here at the same time. And if your opponent is taking up one of their field spaces with a 2-power creature whose sole job it is to guardian something and then block something behind it, let them waste the block on a familiar in the same field. Try going over instead of going through. I don't know a single deck that wouldn't have some ability to go over their opponent's power and would have to go through.
Now, what you should really do always is just bounce orb your own Terrachik. That is pretty much a winning play every time.
If you've blocked the thing that's behind the Terrachik, that is actually a really good play. If you've blocked a familiar, yeah. If you've not blocked the guy supply behind it, no, don't. Gareth, you got anything to add on strength training and its upcoming ban? And Terrachik. Lead the Way's debut recursion has led people to believe that the card is broken.
Because of how cheap it is?
It is a 1-cost card that gives 3 power and recurs a debut. And the only decks that I saw this in, it's not actually very good in anyway.
I could see, like, if you're playing a Might Tactics, if you were running it with Vesperoon.
So now you've already triple qualified me.
Yeah. Again,
so I need to have an ally on board whose debut I want to hit now in the middle of the round. You can't touch it. Then it needs to get to my turn where I can lead the way. Then I agree with you. But there are so many qualifiers there, that doesn't really concern me as a player.
Yeah. It's one of those things that can have strong moments, but it's also not difficult to work around.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, the thing you would have to do is, like, point me to the familiar debut where 3 power and that debut is more powerful than bringing a creature back to life and giving it block. Point to me the debut where 3 power in that debut is better than, like, milling your opponent for 3 and maybe getting, like, on average 1 VP and 2 power. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see it. But obviously, Randy said it needs to be banned, so Lead the Way is banned.
Dang it, Randy.
Sylph Amulet.
I was about to say, speaking of bringing back an ally and giving block,
Now, this is the fun part. Sylph Amulet
that's
doesn't
not
need to
even
be
the
banned,
problem.
guys. Sylph Amulet doesn't even need to be banned. We just need to remove the support effect from it. I'll let you guys speak on that.
Like, I can see it being considered strong with something like Snydro, but
Qualify.
yeah,
It's adjacent. It's not any.
It's adjacent.
right.
Snydro needs
There
to
are
have more.
limits.
Snydro needs to have more power than whatever it's removing. It's a
Yep.
printed 4 to begin with, so you'd have had to juice Snydro. And what if they have a mirror image in each field and that's all you can eat?
Yeah. And it's just a simple matter of, I think looking back at it, at least, again, acknowledging that the card pool now is not the card pool always. But without it, I'm not sure Snydro has quite enough movement.
Snydro's fine. Snydro's enough movement. In the current card pool. Snydro's fine.
Well, fine, be that.
It's
but again, I don't know. And maybe
no. You're saying what you're saying is only true if you're playing Might. If you're
Fair.
playing Might, then the only movement Snydro would have is like Tornado swapping it. Or
right.
with Sifid. Well, no, because that's
like with special that I played, like you've got options. You got Take Flight there. You
have a ton of options
You got
in special. It's not.
Was there
Swift.
context or a certain?
No,
matchup?
it is literally the note of the support on it is too powerful. Sylph Amulet needs to have the support removed. And the funny part is like you guys know, I don't really support Sylph Amulet. I don't view that.
I know you like to play it.
I don't really view that as an insanely valuable support. Moving to an adjacent field is not going to win me games. Not the way that me putting out. I drop a 2-cost Sealan from Might, the Guardian. You remove it. Now for 1, I get to put it back on the board, re-trigger its debut, give it block, and it has Guardian. I don't really care about this support. Now, if I have 2 in my opening hand, maybe I would put 1 in support.
And whereas I have more than previously played Sylph Amulet a couple times, whereas with my play style, I do like the support. So maybe I'm slightly biased in favor of the support, but
Is it so powerful it needs to get removed, though, is the question. Because telling us that you love the support is great. There's a reason it's on the card.
Right.
It's on the card because it's cool. We liked it, right? Like, but yeah, it's, like Garrett said, it's adjacent. Like, what's the... You're moving from 3 to 2, from 1 to 2, from 2 to 1 or 3. It's not like you're swinging, all the way across.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I do think it's funny the next card being that they're looking for cards with support, and yet there's people that want to remove supports.
The next card is, in fact, my card of the week. Heyo! We've got Enchanted Draft, which does need to be banned because it is too powerful.
Okay. Before you jump into your card of the week thing, can we all admit that we've seen the 2 powerful draft plays? We've all seen you draft Simba and knock out 3 of his Tamer cards that have supports on it for 3 VP. We've all, right? It was Lucky Shaper Magic, and I forget if it was Shaper Magic again or Guide, but it was like 3 supports you top decked from him in that championship match. That was the most powerful draft has ever
I have also whiffed completely. Now, I say
Three
whiffed
Tamer
completely.
cards, no support, right? 3 Tamer cards, no support.
Yeah. Now I can say, I say whiffed completely. You're still making a mill 3 card.
They lost 2 special attacks and a double-edged hit or something, right?
So again, it's one of those cards that I can look at and I get the feel bad, kind of the same as when we were talking about the ranch. Like I get the surprise factor of it, or the irritation of losing the really powerful cards like Simba did. The VP swings, all that kind of stuff. Like I get the in the moment frustration of it, but I don't like I've whiffed at least as many times as I've actually hit or gotten just +1 power off of it, or whatever the case may be. I don't know that I think it is that ridiculously overpowered. Now, again, maybe it's just a pet card of mine and I'm being ridiculous, but I don't think it's that way.
No, so like Gareth can expand on this, but when cards are balanced and Randy messes up or does really well, sorry, Randy, but when cards are balanced, cards will have a floor and a ceiling, right? And so if you look at like the Might Tortu's floor and ceiling are the exact same. Because no matter what you do, you're going to play it, and it's 5 power, and it's tame and brave, and it gets block. That's it, right? That's as bad and as good as it can get. You look at something like Lead the Way, you pay 1 for this Tamer card, you get +3 power. That is the floor of the card. Because what if you're playing it and you're playing it on something that has no debut effect, right? That's the floor. Ceiling of the card is obviously the 3 power, and the debut effect pops off and does something really cool. Okay. We all know the ceiling of Enchanted Draft is like way up here.
Yeah. It can be math.
The alternative, though, is balancing the card. The alternative, though, is again, the floor is way in the basement. Because you could have just paid 1 and milled them cards that don't even in the matchup against you matter, or get you VP, or get you power. And so the floor of the card is way down there. Ceiling of the card is way up high. So what is the average of the card? And the average of the card, right, is that you're going to get 1 or 2 power and 0 or 1 VP. And you're going to mill 3 cards. That's on par with the other 1-cost Tamer cards in Might.
Right.
Yeah.
Why is this your card of the week, though, Sammy?
I love this card. This is one of my favorite cards, and I really just like me. Tell me if you've heard this one before. Why don't you discard 3 cards and tell me what they are?
2 times in 1 round I've seen you do it. I've
Yeah.
also seen you do it. Let's start off the round, 2 rounds in a row, right? Round 2, round 3, or round 1 and round 2.
Yeah.
Let's just start off the round with an Enchanted Draft, just to see.
Let's just start off the round same way as last time. Let's just see what happens. And usually, the more smug and cutesy I am about it, the more likely I am to completely hit nothing. So
Yeah.
karma.
The Wing and a Prayer on Simba was a goated play for the VP, and then of course the cards that you milled were devastating to him. Him losing the Shapers, I think, was like,
Yeah.
He needed those. I think for you too, seeing you play it, Gareth and I have talked about this. Seeing you play it in the Chrism Glaciafly deck, it was fun because a lot of the times it was like, I'm going to get a VP and I'm going to put a power on Glaciafly. I'm going to put a power on Chrism. Enchanted Draft for you was almost like a power of friendship type of card.
Yeah.
Like, everyone get more powerful. And like, that was it.
Yeah.
And that was fun.
Let's boost everybody. Yeah. No, it's just what I would look at it. It didn't make my Spider Snydro deck.
No, that card does nothing for that deck.
Yeah, but it hurt me not to put it in there. Like, it absolutely is a pet card of mine. Like, I think it's fun. I think it's fun design. I love the die.
I think low key too. Randy had brought this up. I think low key too. I'm giving credit to Randy now. That's how bad this is, guys. It slows the game down.
Yeah.
So for like Might to have a way of just like paying one, it's like Ignition, right? It's how many people start a Might game off with Ignition? Because if you're going first and you don't want to commit all your resources, Enchanted Draft and Ignition are just sort of like a stress-free, easy, like no real risk.
I definitely view it that way. Like, when I see both of those cards, even more so than like Terrachik's another one that is kind of up there, but I would say these two even more so than Terrachik to a degree are just this. I'm just gonna go ahead and get the ball rolling with this.
Yeah. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. I've just got an Ignition. What do you have?
Yeah.
Let's see what's in your deck. Let's go fishing.
Yep.
I think we can all agree that draft is just fine, though.
Yeah.
Okay. The next card on this list genuinely offends me. So I'm just going to preface this
I
card.
didn't think it was that evil of a.
No, this card will not be a discussion between us three or Randy. Airing. I was actually sent a long-winded message that airing needed to be ally only. No. No, no, no. There are 16 familiars in the game right now. How many of them are 3 or less power? Go ahead.
Not a really
None
big
in ferocity, right? None in ferocity. So that leaves what? What is the airing KOing? Illusion? Who cares?
Glaciify, Illusion, Badu, Vesper.
Glaciify
I can see.
that would be the one that you would get really mad about. But see, that's why airing needs to not be ally. Because airing is a direct check on Glaciify. And if you are not protecting Glaciify, you're going to get airing.
Also, just don't only have 3 power on Glaciify.
Snakes eat butterflies. That's common knowledge. Don't leave your Glaciify unprotected. And you know what? No one was even using Glaciify this event. So I know that that wasn't the complaint. So anyone complaining about airing has no right to if they removed your Illusion or Vesperin from the board. Who the heck cares? It's 3 power. Calm down. You will be able to redeploy that familiar this round or the next one. We're moving on. Sorry, guys. That's not a discussion. I was told during, Gareth, I was told during a podcast about Wildhearts that the Might Sealand was borderline unplayable because it had Guardian on it. Well, that's weird because the movement and the Guardian were what's being complained about as to why it needs to get banned or restricted.
I don't think I understood that argument on that podcast. I've never heard.
Oh, okay. Listen, Might Sealand is amazing and is in my top 10 pet cards of my own, Sammy. I love Might Sealand. I actually understand the cause for him to be hurt in some way because he does so many things. And here's the thing, I don't think anyone though has actually wrapped their mind around how good he is. Or she. Your Might Sealand could be a female. That would be most people are looking at it going 5 power Guardian. Okay. Then they see the debut and he puts non-item magic cards back in your deck. Or sorry, pulls them back. Recursion. That's not really the power of him though, is it? The power of him is being able to let you play Enchanted Draft, which is a magic card, Sammy. And then you know that annoying 8 power Chrism that's busted that your opponent has in that Sealand's field? Well, you just get to move him out of there, don't you? You just get to tell him to go somewhere else, like that inactive field over there. Oopsies. I understood the critique because I know what the card does, but no one uses the card for what the card does. So, do we think any changes would need to be made in regards to our poor mites?
Nerfed to ally.
It is another one where in the middle it moves Glaciafly over to a different field. Now his power is only going into the middle field. It's great.
And if the middle field is not active,
LOL. Although then their Might Sealant that's worth 5 power is in an active field as well.
is a good point.
Yeah, no, I have a soft spot for that.
I was going to say, it's okay. They're going to Sylph Amulet the Sealant out of there anyway.
Right.
Well, yeah, I like the card. A little behind the scenes, that art was one of the first pieces that I had seen from a particular artist. So, yeah, that particular card, I don't want touched. I love everything about it. So, moving on.
Now, I was again told in a podcast, Gareth, that this card would never be used for the play effect, only the support.
Yeah, I don't get this one.
Which I disagree with as somebody who keeps putting it in my deck and then never getting to use the play effect, and I still don't agree with.
Slam attacks play effect is too powerful.
No.
It does wipe out your own 1-costers. So there is some risk reward. Maybe you wanted them wiped out. Maybe you are running a Magibee deck. You know, you're running Magibee and you want all those 1s removed. But yeah, it doesn't. Even in that situation, it would be good, right? Because it cancels all the KO effects. Yeah, so it wouldn't be good. Rapture, I guess you're trying to juice your Rapture, maybe. I don't get it. I understand being frustrated by the KO effects not popping off. I understand you ambushed twice and they just undid all of those ambushes with 1 slam attack. But I view the qualifier on this very similar, actually. Sammy, you guys on the podcast talked about this. Slam attack has a support in the case that your opponent is not running heavy amounts of 1-costers. So, like, conditionally, this card is really good. But conditionally good cards do not need to be touched in any way on the development side. You know?
Yeah, I would agree. It's a card that I like a lot in theory, and half of the time it's one of the first cards I side out if I didn't already just have it in my sideboard to begin with.
You see someone run an ambush or like Trossum or, you know, there's an immediate like, okay. Okay. But if they're not running those, or if they're not someone you're familiar with that plays like, again, I would have 2 slam attacks in every deck if I were playing against JJ regularly.
Sure. Yeah.
I would just know, right? Like he's gonna run.
That's his play style. That's the way he likes to play.
So I'll clear out. Yeah, I'll clear out the whole dang thing. That's your mistake for running all 1s. But I can't see that card ever being touched. I love slam attack. I joke, but it is truly my favorite removal in the game because there's a cost on both sides. Even if I don't have any 1s that I lost, I had to actively not put them in that field.
Right.
So like there was a cost that you just didn't see me incurring, right? No complaints about the Sifid, so obviously it's a terrible card. 0 out of 5. We knew that. Unity Tactic has been complained about in every single event. It was not really ran in this event, so we'll assume it would have been complained about had it. But our fan favorite Volt Rock was it's too much power, guys.
Is it
It's
though?
too much power. Yep.
Again, it's got a massive qualifier. The very first sentence, like you have
Is
to make
9
sure that
is 9 power a lot of power?
It's pretty deep.
Can I just reset spell though?
Little.
So can I just pay 1 and undo a lot of
I have had it happen to me where I made a massive Volt Rock and then
Shaper Man?
either Shaper Magic, reset spell, something blew up a chunk of it right off the bat. So yeah, it is a lot of power. But it is,
Wouldn't Unity Tactics be better than Volt Rock? I mean, let's say you can't qualify Unity Tactics. What if it's 6 power and block on each of them? Is that not better than 9 power and maybe block on something else that didn't get power?
it depends on the deck.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, right? Is like, I mean, the argument of like 9 power is too much or Volt Rock is too good. It's like, but
Unity Tactics.
But it can be undone easier, you know? I mean, yeah, Unity Tactics isn't familiars, but familiars aren't immune to Shaper Magic or Reset Spell or special attacks or Skyer or Momentum Shift. By all means, put 4 or 5 power or whatever on your familiar in that field. I would love to Momentum Shift him.
I'm pretty sure that's one of the things that has happened.
Yeah, that one was really puzzling.
Like, I mean, I get it. It is a lot of power all at once. Like, I at least see the, like, I can say, yeah, that's a lot of power. I just don't know that it's that devastating. Even in playing it on like a Glaciify where you're potentially getting double the output out of part of it.
In keeping with our theme, moving on. In keeping with our theme, both zero costers from special need to be, one needs to be at least restricted, and one needs to be banned. So one of the feedback pieces we got is people playing Moonlight Aura back-to-back is annoying and unfun to play against. What is the likelihood they're going to have back-to-back Moonlights? It's not unlikely. What is the likelihood? 2 out of 30 cards.
It could happen.
I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying, is this a reliable, like it happens every game, so we need to do something about it? Or is this one in every, say, 10 games, they happen to draw a Moonlight Aura off of a Moonlight Aura and then play it?
Even if it was more likely, I don't know that it's really any more than if you happen to have 2 crowd roars back to back or something like that too. Like, I don't.
How is this any more or less annoying than like Moonlight Aura, Pengost, Sack Bond? And then they play another one, a 0 or 1 cost. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why them playing 2 Moonlight Auras is that big of a to-do to you. They burnt 2
game down.
Does it? Because it's 2 special
got
attacks
speed.
triple draw. They just keep playing. What is it? What is it?
That's what I'm saying. I don't get the complaint. So like you play the card because I've done it before. I've played 2 Moonlights back.
Maybe it's the draw a card. Like you get it's basically a completely free play to get the special attack tokens.
But you don't even get them. They go into your deck, right? So
yeah,
it's basically
you
draw the Moonlight. You have to draw the Moonlight to replace the Moonlight with 2 special attacks, and that's basically the whole play. I'm not sure anyone cares about that. The Foxtail one was not about it being annoying. It was that it was actually too powerful. Which, by the way, we've heard every step of the way. Back in the day, it used to draw a card. Another funny part is no one is currently using the Foxtail with, like, Gale Sine to do the big reset. Like, people forget that Gale Sine says if you play a spirit card, you may reset a creature in this field. So, Sammy, you're juicing up your Glaciofly. You're at +7 on a Glaciofly. Your opponent has a Gale Sine in that field. I play a 0-cost Foxtail Necklace. Boom, your Glaciofly is reset. No one even does that. And yet it is still broken. And I will say, I watched John play 2 of them opening round twice. So maybe that's the problem, is someone has seen one too many. Yeah. John had 6 resources he otherwise wouldn't have had through the course of the game. Which again goes into my "you lucky hat truthers are bozos."
Spoilers.
Well, we talked about this last week.
I know.
Garrett's card of the week last week. Lucky hat. You guys are bozos. You could be having 6 real resources the rest of the game. You're over here LOLing about 1 temporary resource in the opening round.
Wait, Foxtail Necklace. I mean, it's definitely, these are both useful cards in their way, but
I don't.
It can be a little bit daunting, I guess, to have somebody get so far ahead in the resource curve as you. But
what are they doing with the resources? Are we playing just a bunch of 1-costers? Like, what are we doing with the resources?
Yeah, it's what comes later that is the important part.
Listen, I'll just disclaimer everyone here that would listen. The 0-cost cards in the game are incredibly well balanced. The only reason we removed draw from the necklace is because we could, and because over the course of 3 sets, we added a ton of cards that trigger on spirit. So we didn't remove the draw because it was too good with the draw. We removed the draw because it didn't need the draw. It had a million other tacked on effects moving forward, and it was already really good. We talked about this with Magibee, right? Where Magibee could have been a 5 or a 4. Right? Power. Normally, when a situation like that comes up, as a team, we make the decision where we're going to lean forward, and whatever the more powerful option is, we're going to let it roll with that. That's more fun. Doing more things is more fun. So we're going to let it roll with 5 power, not 4. In the case of the necklace, we could get away with it rolling with draw. It really wouldn't matter. But it was one of those where we could go without draw, we could go with draw. Over time, it made more sense to not have the draw. But in the opening card pool, having the draw would have been just fine. All of the 0-cost cards in the game are perfect, and we love them the way they are. None of them are changing, and we can't remove them from the game because they're corner pieces to the design of Wildhearts. And Gareth can talk about it, but they're part of what makes it special. That if zeros didn't exist in the game and every card had a cost of 1 to 3, you would never, ever have any anxiety over your opponent playing cards that they shouldn't be playing, would you? Sammy has 2 resources left. He's either going to play a 2 or he's going to play 2 1-costers, right? Everyone could do that math. 0-cost.
I don't have them in my hand.
Well, right, but 0-cost cards kick open the door. And you could play a strength training. And now I still don't know whether you're going to play 2 1s or a 2. They open that door. The necklace alone opens the door for special to play at a higher curve than anyone else. That's it. Yeah, we're moving on from zeros. Quit complaining about them. They're not going anywhere. Siltsune is too impactful for a 1-cost card. I'm gonna hot take you guys here. Siltsune, if you had a gun to the back of my head and you're like, listen, it's this or your kids, which cards in Wildhearts are overpowered? Siltsune would probably actually be on that list. It does too much. It's a spirit card, which will make more sense as time goes on. It has 2 printed power. It can't be played to Crag, but it can't be played to Crag or Burberry and do what it does. But the fact that it moves and deploys, and it has a KO effect on it.
Moves or deploys, not and deploys.
You know what I mean, though. It serves the function. Right? It does too much for a 1-cost card. I agree wholly. And it should be banned. Moving forward, Siltsune is banned.
Wait, no.
I'm kidding. It's not banned. But it does do a lot. No, it does do a lot. Yeah, we can all agree on that. But of course, the KO effect is on it. Here would be my question to the both of you. Is your opponent ever really KOing your Siltsune? So to get the KO effect, you have
because again, it's only 2 power. Like unless you've blasted it.
It's 2 power and you've played it. So knowing the debut effect is so good, why would they remove it and open the door to you to play another? They're going to make you remove it. So now the Siltsune has an added cost. To use it effectively, you need to have a way to guilt Siltsune off the board. So you need double-edged hit. You need sack.
Because it's not a powerful unit taking up a...
Yes. So yes, it does a lot, but the cost to do a lot is also... it's there. And, if we're doing the fun part, if you've went through all that effort to redeploy a Kindolf, I don't care, because Kindolf doesn't have another debut effect. You go through the effort of redeploying your Glaciafly, I don't care, because the reset on Glaciafly is actually not used correctly even to this day. So, like most of the redeploys on it, I, by all means, use it. Like, it does a lot, I agree. And it will do more as more special spirit triggers come out. But no, I agree that it does a lot. I don't agree that that makes it too powerful, if that makes sense. Double-edged hit may be cracked. That was an exact quote. This is an odd take for me, guys. Because I rarely see people use the second part of double-edged hit, and the second part of double-edged hit to me is actually the powerful part of double-edged.
The second part of double-edged hit was really the only reason it was actually in the deck I put together. Granted, I don't think I used it right either, but that was the only reason it was.
I mean, you have Primus Forest, right? Use the spider, you drag something over to Primus Forest, Gareth, it's got -2 power. You pay 1 with double-edged hit, you blow up one of your little weenies like the Siltsune. KO their creature, boom, we're in VP town. Guess what? You also just gave -1 to all allies in a field. We're cooking. I agree it's good, but I rarely see y'all even use the second half. So is the move in -2 too good?
It's helpful. Like I used it to open up. I used it a couple times to open up an ally to be defeatable by Snyder.
Yeah. What do you think, Gareth?
I mean, this is another card that, going back to the whole crack conversation. Like, we have so many ways to move and impact infields, but I rarely see the move. It seems to be, a special attack and then double-edged hit to KO it, the move it and the KO.
I wish I saw that.
It seems like that. The one thing I like the really scripted turns where it's like, I'm going to play in a sheep. And it's like, okay, clearly they're setting up for a double-edged hit. And it's like, you know, again, it's like, all right, you just played a sheep, you played a special attack, you played double, you just played 3 cards just to get that ally. Like, okay, again, cool. I mean, it's a great combo, but I feel like there's so many times where this goes back to the conversation that I had last week where like I think it was someone said, you know, how do you become a better player? It's like just read the card. Like read that there's multiple effects. Read that don't just read the obvious and say, okay, well that's the value of this card. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised by the feedback. I don't know what that means that it's cracked. I don't know which part is overpowered since it's a choose one. You don't get to do both. Um, I'm assuming they're referring to the first one. You just get to KO it.
Nope. They're referring to the move in -2, because as I said, I saw 0 people during the tournament use the KO other than Sammy. All right. Can we lightning round 3 allies in a row?
Yeah.
Enchantress, Pekera, and Terraclaw, all 2-cost special allies. Boom, boom, boom. Enchantress has too much upside. Pekera is broken on both sides. That one was interesting to me because rarely do I see it supported. And Terraclaw is cracked and should be rebalanced. There's still time, guys. The cards haven't been printed. We still have time to rebalance it.
I don't understand any of those. Enchantress is the only maybe.
Yeah,
Nope.
I get
Nope. It's
I get the feel bad. I can see the perception of Enchantress.
guys, it has a double qualifier.
Oh, I'm aware.
It
I
is
didn't
a double
say I
qualifier.
agree.
If you're that worried about
I said I can
Enchantress, why
see
are
it.
you feeding it? Why are you piling all your allies up in one field? Why are you not holding removal for the... You seem ramping. You're playing special. Why are you not holding removal for the Enchantress?
Well, I think you can. That's what I'm saying. I think that when you see it, you're like, oh, okay, that sucks. But then again, it goes back to the original thing I made comment earlier. Is sometimes you have to pivot. You have to respond. Like I don't even know how you would even. What was the phrase? Is it too impactful? No, it's
Too much
needs to
up.
be restricted. Too much.
Up.
Yeah, so you want us to restrict it to 1 per deck? No one's playing Enchantress then. We might as well just ban it at that point.
I mean, unless they're wanting like the debut to be allies. I don't know.
So then it's not playable for like half the game. Right? What are we doing here? The Pekera being broken on both sides is, boy, that is a stunner for me. I rarely see it ran as a support. I do understand the frustration of every time you go to play an ally going, oh, I can't in field 2 because the stupid Pekera. I get it.
I think what's
I'm no
frustrating
different.
to watch is when people put Pekara in support and then they go, "No, I don't want to do it." Then why did you put it support? I have played so many games with people, and because it says May, it's like okay, and then it's like we'll play 3 rounds and they've used it one time as a speed, and it's like so it's one of those weird things where most of the time I don't ever see it in support, but then I've played a couple of games where I see it in support, and then they choose not to do it. I was like, okay, I mean, sure, that's a choice. So yeah, that one's a weird one for me.
I don't understand that one or Terraclaw at all, to be completely honest.
No, Terraclaw is correct. We'll rip it up. We'll get a new Terraclaw for y'all.
No.
I'm kidding. There's nothing wrong with Terraclaw.
I mean, I love that Terraclaw breaks the rule. I mean, it breaks the rule for a reason, but it has a KO effect and a guardian.
Yeah, we don't do that. That's a big no-no. But you can tell when we have our favorites, Sammy. our favorite creatures. And tell that Terror Claw is just a creature is someone's favorite because look at how good Momentum Shift is. And then look at his ally card. Boy, I wonder if he has any other cards in the
I don't know.
But then,
Yeah, I mean,
they don't even make a comment about reset spell. Like this is where I just get confused. It's
Is the Guardian 5 power and Seek? What was 2 power? Now listen, I saw a winning play with Terror Claw during the tournament that is going to blow you guys' mind. Have you ever thought of paying 2 to play it, seeking 3, and then immediately sack bonding at the same turn?
no.
Well, it's that type of big brain move, Sammy, is leading people to believe he's broken.
Fair.
Oh, no, listen, Terror Claw's fine as is. 5 power, Guardian, all great. Yes, there's a KO on the Guardian. But why is there a KO on the Guardian? It's because Seek 3 on a 2-coster is not overly impactful. You've already paid 2 of your resources, so what card are you pulling with Seek 3? The likelihood is you're probably not going to be able to play it this round if it's round 1 or 2. So it needs a KO. It literally needs it. Otherwise, the card probably wouldn't get used. Now, is he one of the few creatures that escapes Burberry? He is. By design.
Yeah.
Take Flight is the best card in the game. That was
Agreed. No questions.
I mean, I do love that card. I don't know if it's the best card in the game, but when I read that, I was like, I mean, it is pretty good.
Yeah, I that was one of the ones that I looked at and I was like, well, all right.
I mean, I don't read that as a negative, but yeah, sure, it's a great card.
2-cost card, you have to move a familiar. The amount of people that I've had to correct who have tried to move an ally with this is not a low amount. And then you get to add a card from your discard as a resource. So, and it has speed. So this is why I will say it cannot be the best card in the game. 1, it costs 2. 2, it has speed. 3, it has a qualifier if you have to have a familiar you want to move. 4, it has to have a qualifier if you have a card in your discard, i.e. you've already played a card, or a card has ended up in your discard with something like Magic. I don't know, but you have to have a card in your discard that meaningfully you can add as a resource and do something with. Now,
It does create some fun combos, though.
Right, but because notice it has speed, you move your familiar and you add the card as not an exhausted resource, a resource. So because you're adding it as a resource, you need to have the availability to use it now. More than likely, you need to be able to use it now. That's why I say this can't be the best card in the game, because all of the things that I just said are all like a litany of qualifiers. The best decks that can use this currently would want this to be an item or a magic card. Is it? Nope, it's not. It's a skill card. Then we get to the support effect where you have to have played a Tamer card.
Which is another good.
Which is great, but there's qualifier number 1, and then qualifier number 2. Do you have a familiar you want to move or deploy? So this is a resource you usually don't use early in the round, which obviously telegraphs some information to your opponent or plans later in the round. This is why, again, is the card great? Yes. Is it one of my 8 favorite pieces of art in the game? Yes. Does it fit with the Infernator? Yes. But again, this goes into, like I said, no.
I think the perception is there because as a player, if you can pull this off and you can get you already set it up. Like if I put Take Flight in my deck, in my head, I'm like, okay, the perfect scenario is I need one of these cards in my discard pile. Like I'm trying to set up a combo, which again, 30 card deck, you may not even get that combo. But there is something about a player, if you're able to pull it off, you just kind of have this grin on your face. You're like, yeah, I just did that. That was awesome. So like I get the perception. it's the, I don't know if it's the, again, I wouldn't call it the best card. It's a fun card. Take Flight is one of those, but I've also sat on it for a long time because of that, because it has clogged my deck up or my hand up because I have waited for that combo.
No, listen. If you're looking at me, and we've had games like this, I remember those test games, Gareth, where it was like, you're gonna take Flight. We're in round 2. You're gonna strength training your Snydro. Then I go. Then you're gonna take Flight your Snydro. You're gonna eat something of mine. Strength training then becomes the resource. Then you're gonna pay with strength training for something like, Lead the Way or Enchanted Draft. And you're going to add another power to Snydro, and you're going to pop off on that card you just put. Listen, all that's great. I'm just saying it can't be the best card in the game, because that's not how it's designed, and it has like 83 qualifiers on everything it does.
No, I agree.
It is a very handy card for the way I like to play, but it also has a lot of, like you say, qualifiers that kind of limit the utility.
Moving on, should we talk about how powerful Sune Stick is?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been pretty vocal about my play style. Like, I play all the styles, but like these are, I really enjoy. This is, I wouldn't say it's an auto include, but I really like the Sune Stick, and I still am like, okay. Again, it goes into, to say it's too powerful for me in my decks. It's very specific. It's similar to Take Flight. Like, you kind of, some decks I hoard it almost just because of the redeploying. Like, I'm holding on to it in my hand strictly for that. So it's like, again, is it too powerful if I'm literally waiting for the perfect time to use it? It's not.
The problem then is they have to send your familiar back to the bench while you still have 3, which would be pretty early in the round. This card entertains me to no end, because for this card to be too powerful, I'll just go ahead and remind everyone. This card can be shut down basically by a single mirror image in all 3 fields. You're telling me you want to make the argument that this card is worth it to pay 3 to move a creature and knock out one of my mirror images. You get a resource. Yippity day. You just burnt that card. You know what I mean? Like, and if you're saying, well, like, how would you get that many mirror images on the field? Already I can do that with Trossum in 1 round. I can put 2 mirror images out. What do you mean? If I wanted to play Might Tactics, I could get 3 mirror images out on the board round 1. So what do you mean? I don't know that a card that can be shut down by a single mirror image in every field is and I don't even need one in every field. I just need one in the 2 fields that your creatures aren't in. So I don't know that we could call a card that does that too powerful. Familiar removal on it is really good.
That's very, yeah. I like the fact that it can remove a familiar,
But then no.
but then no ramp. I like the ramp, but then no familiar. It's one of those cards that I like a lot in theory, and then a lot of times I either end up sitting on it or resourcing it at some point in favor of something else. Like, it's good, absolutely, but
I do think it's funny to watch when someone plays a Sune Stick on a familiar, and then your opponent plays something like the Siltsune. It's like, you paid 3 to KO my familiar. I paid 1 to put it back. So like, it's also one of those.
I drill attack. You Sune Stick to my drill attack.
Yeah. So that is kind of it's like, oh, I just spent 3 to do that. I thought it was cool, and then you just brought him right back. So yeah.
Now, I would also say it's a little bit different if you're deploying a familiar rather than moving it. Like, if you had one on your bench that you're getting back on the board, that's a little bit different. But yeah, still.
You want
Now
to
we can.
talk about the okay? I was say, do you want to talk about the greatest card in the game?
Well, yeah, because we can jump right to question of the day. So context to this: as the finals between Chase and John wrapped, I had a chance to sit and chat with the two of them. Now John has a quote that I'm going to reference here, but there were two people who are not named John who complained about the hat. I can use John's quote without embarrassing him because he said it in question of the day public for everyone. He said Lucky Hat is arguably the best card in the game. I was in fact told that Lucky Hat is the best card in the game by two other people, and that it's not even close, and that the card shouldn't exist. I will again reference the Lucky Hat conversation where I said, please do the math and justify one temporary resource and opening the door to 3 cost cards in round 1. Please justify the math of that being better than 3 resources over the course of a game. I don't think that math works out. I think that it is a support drawing 4 in most instances is better than 1 temporary resource. I'm saying in most. I'm not saying in all.
There are edge cases.
There are aggressive Vesperoon decks I run where, yes, the hat is needed to just get so many things on board. You can't fight it all. But, like...
I know of 2 games in this last tournament, and I think it's the shock. I think it's you counted the resources. It's like you forgot that the card existed. I know they didn't because they were pretty vocal about the Lucky Hat, but I'm looking at my opponent. They have 2 resources, and then they turn in and they play Lucky Hat, and then they play a 3-cost card. Like they make this combo that like seals the deal for them. So, like in the case that I'm referring to, they played the Turpion and were able to get points. Like they thought that they couldn't afford it, that it was in the bag, and then a Lucky Hat was played. But again, at a certain point, especially when you're playing against certain players, you kind of go, okay, in your brain, this is like the judge's degree conversation. If they're playing tactics, there's a chance that they have a Lucky Hat. So throughout the entire game, you have to have that in the back of your head. At any time, a card could be reduced. You need to be ready for that. I mean, that's just...
Well, yeah, can I point to another one? Because you had brought this up the last time we were talking about this. Ambush. Because we can run through that same conversation with Ambush, right? Where Sammy's sitting here and he's going, okay, versus got 1 resource left. And he's only going to be able to play maybe 1 Tamer card or a creature. And I can just pay 1 and play Ambush. And now it's not even my hand. It's 2 coming out of my deck, guys. So like the thing you're talking about is a real thing. But it doesn't just exist with hat and tactics. It exists in other styles as well. There's a 2-cost Might card that will come up in Series 2. That is basically that feeling, but for Might. There's a 2-cost card coming in Special. That is basically that feeling in Special. Now I know what you're thinking. Like, well, it's 2 costs. Yes. Those styles have to pay more for it than Tactics and Ferocity do, because that's how color wheels... Yes, that's how color wheels work. Does it help you to know that every Tactics creature is on average lower power than every other style? Like, does that not click with people?
Right.
Has it not clicked that Tactics has the lowest average power, familiar-wise, as well? 3 of them have 3 power, y'all. Even Special has more power. Ferrotoon is a 4. Jellycane is a 4. Glaciafly is a 3 printed, but I've rarely seen someone only get 3. Meanwhile, Tactics is over here with 3 familiars that are at 3 printed power, and y'all are like, oh, wow, Tactics can do a lot. Yeah, and its printed power is in the floor. Like, yes. It has to do something to compensate for the lack of power. Yes. All right, we're moving on. Lucky Hat's fine, but that one was hilarious. We got 2 one-costers in tactics. Adult is too powerful because you can remove something that costs 3 for 1.
I love it.
Anyone want to bite on this?
I love that you can do that. Like
It
I
hurt
also-
my feelings.
but this goes into yes, it KOs, and that's amazing. I love when someone throws the croc or something, and then you draw into an auto. It's like, okay, awesome. I'm about to remove your 7 now. But it's similar to the Siltene. It's similar to the Siltene in that you've now just clogged up a field with a 1 power creature. So like, it's great. I think it's awesome that you can do that. And then again, you can't bat it. You can't fair tune it because no one's been played this round unless it's a mirror image as you're playing against a Trossum. Sure, I mean maybe.
But which again, by all means, use the adult on the Trossum, the mirror image.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know why you would do that, but I think it's great that it allows you to do that. And actually, I would say that that's probably where the curve is at. If you're playing an adult, you have 2 in your deck, and you're immediately knocking out a Crochet. It's like, okay, I mean, cool. Or immediately knocking out fill in the blank of another 1-cost creature.
Well, I was gonna say, what are all the 1-cost guardians? They're all tame. So if you're doing it, you're not getting the VP. Even the one that's not been revealed in Series 1 is tame. You're not getting the VP. So like, you're losing a whole part of the card. Listen, I agree. I think it's a hugely powerful tool, but only if your opponent is similar to Lucky Hat. If your opponent is walking into a game against tactics, not worrying about getting something adulted. I mean, we can say the same about Skyer, about Drill Attack, about Shaper Magic, like Turpian. Tactics threat is not the power, it's the effect.
100%. And I'll say, I'll call back again to reminding myself to post the video soon. My game with Chase, like that was a big part of it, was the combo of the adult Vesperoon, and I'm gonna bring in, it's not a 1-cost ally, but it's another tactics ally that I'm gonna loop into this conversation because it just skips one more card before we get to it. Breezolf. Use that combination to just pretty devastating effect. Like every time I was starting setting things up to be able to clear his stuff, I just got wrecked. It's good. It's a good toolbox, but honestly, I think you can look at the flip side and say, okay, if he didn't have that combo, did I just steamroll him instead? I don't necessarily. Every card game has a little bit of, for lack of better term, rock, paper, scissor element to it, where if you're just not prepared for it, you're gonna get rolled by it. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's actually better, because again, they make up for it by having virtually no power whatsoever.
You could always just have a Gale Sanan support, play your ally with block, and then you wouldn't have to worry about the adult.
Well, there's that too.
You could also just have one of the 83 tame guardians that cost 1 in play and play your allies behind that guardian. Then you wouldn't really have to worry about the adult. Okay, what about the Crochet? I was told it's too impactful, and the notes that I have, this is a conversation in chat with Randy too, but the Crochen's move in VP is, and then it having Guardian is just too much. I've never felt like the Crochet was all that special, but go on.
Like even with Guardian here, like I'm more scared of adult than Crochet as somebody who doesn't really know tactics exist.
Well, yeah, let's play the Croshan ceiling game, right? You're a Vesperoon player with a Croshan. So your Vesperoon is every round being used to move and get a VP. So now Vesperoon is just as busted as Magibee, guys.
Well, I think that
Okay.
I have watched it where you could play the Croshan and move a opposing ally into an inactive field, but yet the player uses it to move their own creature and barely move the needle just to
Yep.
gain a VP.
Yep.
Like that. That's
The
where
shiny
I see it
VP would
played.
come up.
That's a choice, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's wrong, but I would say that it's not played as it's
Correct.
efficient.
It wasn't the optimal play. Still good.
Could you have shifted 3 victory points on a field rather than just taking
Right.
one?
Right. And again, I think it's one of those situations where, again, this goes into even something as simple, jumping back to the auto real quick. Do you KO a high power tame creature, or do you sit there and you, oh, hey, there's a wild creature. I'm going to play my crochet, my auto now. And again, it's one of those things where yes, you get caught up in the shiny 1 VP. And it's like, or you potentially could move something, or there's things that you could do that isn't going to get you the VP, but that power threshold and that power difference could swing it one way or the other.
Yeah, but now they didn't get that VP, Gareth.
Right. And
Mhm.
instead, they got the 5 from the ranch because they moved a creature out of the field.
Gareth, but they didn't get the VP off the Croshan.
Yep. All right, moving on to drill.
Does drill attack do too much? That's the question that people are forcing us to ask.
I could see a world where you said yes by the same logic as Siltsune.
Double qualifier.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very good double qualifier, but double qualifier.
Yeah.
Does your opponent have an ally that you don't want in play and aren't scared of them playing a second time? I.e. an Amptar. A Pakera. Fuegel. So I'm not sure I'd return. Well, actually, I would return the Fuegel because it has a KO effect, and maybe its debut is played less optimally next time.
No, you just shouldn't play Fway.
Well, you should. It's a fantastic card.
No, I heard once on this other podcast I've never.
Oh, you people are silly. No. Do you have a familiar you want to move or deploy? And correct me if I'm wrong, but this card is actually a card sitting in your hand until you need to redeploy a familiar, yes? If your opponent doesn't appear to be playing a type of deck that would make you redeploy, then you're going to use it almost the first instance you need your familiar in an active field, yes? So, is it a good card? Yes. Do I love it? Yes. Is the art some of my favorite? Yes. Is the creatures that are in the art even in the game yet? No. Does that frustrate me personally? Yes. Have I cried about it? Yes. Is it an overpowered card? Does it do way too much? No. I don't buy that. So, but that same person who told me it does too much told me that Shaper Magic was just fine. So, we're living in a wacky world, fellas. Sammy, is Breezelf broken?
It's real good. I wouldn't say it's broken. I really like its debut effect, and the fact that it's a guardian is nice too.
Why is it being a guardian nice, but half of the other guardians you guys all complain about?
I don't complain about Guardians. Let's be clear. I was not the one complaining about Guardian on that other podcast. I don't know.
When I say to the missus, I don't love it, let's say she says, hey, Saturday I have plans to do this thing. What do you think about that? And I say, I don't love it. That's my way of complaining without actually complaining. So when you say, I don't love
I like Guardian.
that leads me to believe that similar to when I talk to the missus, you don't love it. And that's your way of lodging a complaint without complaining.
No. I mean, I'm getting confused now. No, honestly, I like Guardian as a general rule. I think it's handy. I think it's useful. I think this card is good. Like when I definitely never play tactics, it definitely won't be in there.
Yeah, is it useful if you're using Trossum? No. Is it useful with the other 3 that are currently there? Yes.
I'm thinking it's the bat is where I'm assuming this feedback came from.
See,
Which is where I ran into it.
Even then, so let's use Chase's deck. Breezolf is absolutely wolf crap in regards to the Kindolf. Kindolf has no debut to retrigger, so it's an inefficient Kindolf play. You paid 2 to do what? Dumb. You look dumb for doing it. Everyone's laughed at you.
That's really mean.
The entire schoolyard has teased you at this point. You use it on the Vesperoon. Great. So you redeployed your 3 power familiar to retrigger the debut. I hope it was the Turpion. Because if it was any other debut, again, everyone is laughing at you. That's not very good.
Which I think it was at least 2 of the games that I listened to.
Yeah, okay.
That recursion and that Turpion, I think in one game, the Turpion, I think I sent you a message. I think it got like 8 points.
I'll ask again, why is the Turpion still on the board? The Turpion costs 3. The Wolf costs 2. There's no way they could do them on the same round unless it was like round 3 and they had 2 hats they'd been holding on to the whole game. Which, why are they doing that? That's silly. There's no real way for them to do that. So then my question goes to, why is the Turpion still alive? Again, you're just asking for the debut to get triggered over and over again the longer you leave it on the board. Why is it still alive? So at that point, is it the Breezolf that's overpowered, or is it you not planning answers for Turpions? We just talked about drill attack. You could have just sent the Turpion back to their hand, my guy.
Yeah.
Make them pay the 3.
It's certainly not broken. It's good, but it's not broken.
Can I tell you why the Breezolf is actively bad for a moment and play the other side of that?
No.
How much power does every other 2-cost ally in tactics have? What is the power? Go
ahead. I have to get there because I forget.
What is Illusion? It's a 3. What is Skyer?
It's
a 3. What is Hydrofen? What is every other tactics 2-coster that'll come out? They're all 3s. And remind me again, what does Whistle do? So Whistle would let you play any combination of 2-cost allies from your deck, except for a Wolf. Because the Wolf creates a 4-2 power split. So you would be playing with the Whistle like a Wolf and a Crocian, and at that point, why did you even use the Whistle? For 3 power, you could have played a Wolf and a Crocian anyways. So that's where the Wolf is not as good. And the funny part about that is what decks use the Whistle, the Vesperoon. So if the Vesperoon decks are the ones that thrive on Whistle, and the Breezolf is not good with Whistle, why is the Breezolf in a deck using Whistle? Especially if it's Might Tactics, or Might is going to have a higher printed power on most of its creatures. Again, you just look silly. Yeah, I didn't like that one on the list. That one. Sonic Boom is ridiculously good though, guys, and should be restricted to 1.
Sounds good.
Marking it. Is it?
It's good. I don't see the
I watched a different Wildhearts podcast, Gareth, where they talked about Sonic Boom. And they made a really good point about it, and that's that it has speed on it. If Sonic Boom didn't have speed on it, I would say it is probably ridiculously good. So it's almost like speed was put on this card as a governor to keep it from becoming ridiculously good. Listen, I love the card. So I love Sonic Boom so much. Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom ignores block. And if I could tell you guys a funny story about a game I played with Mario Fan, or he played as Raptor ally and like wiped out an entire field. And he's like smugly sitting on like a Raptor with like +5 power, block. And he's just like, yeah, now what? And you're like, what if he went back in your deck? What do you think about that?
I love that idea.
It was hilarious, but that's my point, right? Is like the card has speed though. And you can't use it on really powerful allies if you want the unexhaust qualifier. So, and I mean, again, we've talked about this. Might Tortu is the GOAT. There is no other creature and style in the game where for 2 in round 1, you can have a 7 power ally with block and guardian. And that is what the Tortu and Might allows you to do. That and strength training is like a round 1 juggernaut.
Love Tortu.
And the funny part is like your opponent can't even do that if you Sonic Boom him. They won't have blown the strength training because they'll play the Tortu, you'll strength training it, or you'll Sonic Boom it back to deck. And you'll get to unexhaust the resource, which is really cool. Because it kind of lets you abuse using supports, right? You can like pay for it using a lucky hat and something else. And then unexhaust the lucky hat and get 2 card draws in a round. That's really good. But the trade-off is that you can't kick back those 3-cost allies into the deck. It has to be set, and again, it has speed on it. I think the card's perfectly tuned. I love the choices that this card gives. And if I can be honest, you guys, we watched. Do you remember the first Lops event where it felt like everything had block? This card is the perfect, like, you can't hide behind block the whole game anymore. And so I love that threat is like hanging over everyone's heads when they see tactics. We'll move on though. Card's perfect. Push it. You got a lot of starter deck cards on this list, Gareth. You must have done something. You and Randy must have really mucked with these cards. Lunos is going to need to get banned, guys. It does too much value. It's busted.
I can count on one hand the number of times I've played against this card.
I was just going to say, Gareth, didn't we complain a while back that we're like, why is no one playing Lunos?
Yeah. Very much so.
I mean, to preface that though, Sam, Gareth did say, why is no one playing Lunos? I purposely busted the card for them.
Legit. That's fair. That's true.
It just goes back into the deck on KO. I mean, it's got removal on it. It's got plus power. It's got draw. It's got block. What more do you need? And it's a cute spirit.
I mean, it's It's fine. It costs.
Yeah, it's a little moon sprite though. It gives you whatever you need. For 3, it gives you whatever you need. What do you need, Sammy? He just wants to give it to you, man. He just wants to be your best friend.
There are lots of. I mean, there are great options here. Draw 2 cards. Awesome. KO an ally. Great. Get blood. Awesome.
Hold on. Talked about this last podcast. Drawing cards isn't very good.
I forget about that. My bad. Never mind.
So cut that one. We
Okay.
just talked about Sonic Boom, so block is useless now.
Power. Nobody cares about power.
No one +2 power is stupid. So I guess it's just KO.
Nobody wants to do that either. Okay, it's fine.
Yep. Card's terrible. 0 out of 5. I don't know how we can have this card not played and it be broken at the same time, but that just sort of seems to be the theme with tactics, Gareth.
That is an interesting argument, I feel like.
Gareth, is this another Vesperoon? Is this a problem with the Lunas, or is this a problem with the Vesperoon?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Because if someone was KOing and drawing 2 cards every round with a Vesperoon, I could see getting frustrated, but I'll ask you again, why is the Lunas still in play? I get he shuffles back into the deck, but then they still have to redraw him and replay
Yeah,
him.
you still got to find him.
So, like, whatever. You know what was nuts to me is Turpion was a late addition to this list. And I had made a note that I was shocked we were going to get through the whole event and no one was going to complain about Turpion. Gareth, you know who complained about Turpion. Because you watched the match.
Same one with Lucky Hat.
And Turpion generating 2 VP is too much. I'm over here going, my guy, I've gotten 3 VP off of him. What are we talking about here?
The VP isn't even the most interesting part of Turpion to me.
Oh, I love the VP, but yeah, zeroing out the Enchantress who is supposedly busted, just following him around like a mean little scorpion and telling him he has no power. Ugh. What a time to be alive.
Yep.
I shut down an Owlusion double Shadoon setup with Turpion. Made him split Shadoons, and it was funny. Because it was like the whole setup was for Shadoons, and now you're not getting the trigger. LOL. I knew we were going to get complaints about this card from the get-go. I think Gareth had brought up that this card actually used to be even more powerful. Ally wasn't a qualifier on that ongoing at one point. So this guy used to be doing much more work.
I could see potentially if it wasn't just ally, if it was creature, but even then.
Well, he was also way less power, but then he was easier to whistle out. So there were a lot of
balances. Balances, interesting.
Speaking of whistle is broken, and pulling 2 creatures out of the deck is too much. Someone might want to call Ferocity and let him know Ambush is. Oh wait, Ambush isn't on this list, guys. Spoiler alert. Which is weird because the complaint for Whistle was pulling 2 creatures out of the deck is too much. No one read Ambush? Ambush only costs 1, guys. Only costs 1.
Are you sure?
Yep. Only costs 1. Is Whistle busted, guys? I thought Surging Charm was busted. Where were the Surging Charms, Gareth? I didn't see it in a single deck. I was told it was an auto include in every Tactics deck. Sammy, did you see any Surging Charms?
Never heard of it.
I think the Whistle feedback goes back into the whole reading the card, because I'm not sure if they see the qualifier. that it's up
That's-
to 6 because
It's
again,
not just any 2 creatures.
right. And then if you let's say you get 2 illusions, or because the unique rule is like you double up, or let's say that it's a Fway gel. A Fway gel and an auto. Okay, you just spent 3 to get 2 power on
I've
the board.
seen that be a problem for somebody.
I've seen a lot more field ads than I have this hitting it at the top.
Mm.
Did we not just talk about Enchanted Draft, guys? Whistle is the same principle as Enchanted Draft. The floor of the card is that you pay 3, and the creatures you can play out of your deck are not of the value in which you paid for the card. Playing a Croshin and a Vortnail out of your deck for 3 does not feel good. Getting to play a Ferocity Rapture alongside, say, a Skyer and clear your opponent's whole board feels like you are Herculean strength level. But again, we're doing floor and ceiling here. And as you pointed out, Gareth, I'm looking at all of the tournament decks. None of these decks are actually built for the Whistle. None of these decks even come close to the 20 allies in the deck that the Whistle asks you to put. Which is another cost that the Whistle asks that other cards do not. Which is that at least 2/3 of your deck should be allies, or this Whistle has a very high chance of whiffing. Guys, the Whistle is, I promise you, the Whistle is balanced. There was a time where the Whistle just played 2 allies out of your deck. It doesn't do that anymore.
Well, sack bond is clearly a problem.
Stock Bond is next, yes. So we're finally to Ferocity, guys. You'll notice Gareth hasn't even gotten to do his card of the day. We're almost there, Gareth. Stock Bond is broken. It ramps, it draws, and it triggers a KO effect. What is missing from this evaluation of the card, guys? Also has a qualifier if you have to have a creature on the board that you want to remove. Speed is a great point. You cannot use this like Strength Training or the Hat to play behind. It's more like the Necklace. But unlike the Necklace, you need to have an ally on the board that you want to remove. Do you? Because if it's Amptar, you're probably playing wrong. I don't see it. I think Sack Bond. So if we look at like balance dichotomy, right? If the Necklace is special incarnate, right? Special is the best style at ramping. So special 0-cost card becomes a resource, but it's exhausted. Sack Bond is then Ferocity's way of accessing that same mechanism in the color wheel. But the cost is that you have to have a creature that you're ready to give up. Then yes, it replaces itself and you might get a KO effect. But again, the qualifier is you have to have a creature you're willing to give up. And maybe you have a Siltsine on the board you want to get rid of. Wink face. But maybe you don't. Again, maybe you have an Amptar. And getting rid of that is real dumb. Because it's 3 power and its ongoing is juice. Like, you want to keep that Amptar on the board as long as you can. Make your opponent remove it. Make them give you the VP and the power. What are you doing? I don't see Sack Bond as busted. But, some people also overvalue ramp. Gareth, are we banning Sack Bond, you think?
No, I'm good. Go continue.
Sorry, guys.
Worth it.
Gareth has spoken. You can talk to Randy about potential nerfs to the card, but no bans. Should we get to your card of the week, Gareth?
Yeah. So mine's just, I don't get it. at all. So mine's the Not Loft. So it's
Card
the
of-
Magic card of the week. So the debut is discard your hand, draw 3 cards. Your KO effect is to gain 1 special attack token. Okay, pretty awesome card. That's not the complaint. The issue is that the support is just too good, and it's give an opposing ally -1 power. I don't want to say that's it, but I kind of be like, that's it. Like, to me, this is one of those, from a balance perspective and from a gameplay perspective, we wanted to give Ferocity opportunity to have this passive ability. But it's also like looking at all of the cards that we've got through. How is that the feedback? Like, is there
How does Rapture get their block? This is how, right? Like, you need ways to get through block.
Right. So is that that's the issue? That one particular ally can get -1. I get it.
Well,
but
hold
I
on.
love the play. I love the play effect. I love the KO.
Why was Slam Attack support not complained about then? You're always going to have 2 familiars on the field. Why was Slam Attack support not complained about? I only heard 2 complaints about the play effects for Slam Attack, not the support, which is eerily similar to the Sloth. You just need to have a familiar in a field, which, spoiler alert, you always have 2 familiars, and the likelihood that they're in fields is pretty high.
Yeah. So I picked this as my card of the week just because when we were going through the list and I was looking at all of the cards and I was like, hey, this is a fairly newer card that was revealed. It's an upcoming card in Series 1. But then just to see it and like of that one particular combo that I guess was utilized, and this goes into like everyone's opinion is heard. Everyone's opinion's valuable. Like we appreciate the feedback, but we had this conversation with the staff of a lot of times this is like gut reactions. Like in this game, the support felt bad, or in this game, this felt. And it's like, if you were on the other side, if you were playing off that combo, would you feel that it's just a cool effect? Or would you feel that it's overpowered? And so that's kind of where I wanted to kind of chat about, was just with that.
Also, does it lead to winning, right?
Right.
Like, over 500 plus games, does this card lead to like 50+% wins? And you point to, I had it in support, 250 games. I won over half of them. And I had this baby in support round 1 every time. You know what I mean? Like, those are the type of things that we would look at outside of the feel. Because as Gareth pointed out, feel is wildly subjective. And how you're feeling, your opponent is likely feeling the opposite. So if you're feeling strongly that the support on the Natloth is like too good, your opponent is probably feeling like, oh, finally I can get this Rapture juiced up and get through your stupid Croshan's block. And you're over here going, why did I even block this Croshan? This support is ridiculous. We get it.
Right. Yep. Or I mean, play this with your dragon, with your Infernander. You can get it off of his ongoing. Like, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like looking at that support, it's like it's cool, but
nothing is cooler though, Gareth, than not wanting to discard your hand, and then you play this to like Burberry Springs that your opponent brought, and so the debut doesn't trigger, and you don't have to, and then you sack bond your own Sloth to get the special attack and the ramp and the card draw. And then because you're running Magibee and they're both magic and they have KO effects, Sammy, you get the mill and then you just chuckle evilly the whole time.
Well, it's just broken now.
now you've explained.
Yeah.
Except for now, I noticed the entire combo that I just relayed had nothing to do with the support effect. Which is the thing that was complained about. It had nothing to do with the support effect.
Dang it.
Yeah. So before we go to the next one, again, I'm surprised it was not on the list. So just like really quickly, doubling cube, ambush. Uh, I don't know. I just there's how many cards. How many times was the gel ice brought into some decks in previous tournaments, and the KO effect of, not only are you milling, but you're potentially getting VP. So like seeing a lot of comparisons in effect wise, but yet they're not on the list. And then
The
going
fact
into
that I was running over every single person in Discord, Gareth, with that Jelly Cane Infernander deck, that the Sylphunk just came on the board and like started destroying people, and that the Sylphunk is not in any decks and is not complained about even a little, makes me laugh inside. Keep not playing it. Keep not playing it, people. I don't care.
so Lunath is the next one on the list.
Oh.
Lunath is powerful.
Is it?
Yeah, but that's not a bad. Again, that comes back to that's not a bad thing.
I mean, I get that it's the first Guardian that Ferocity has had, so we need to complain about it. Just like in general. Because you can count Croc, but Croc is a 3-coster. You're not getting him out early enough to have the Guardian really push. This is a round 1. You happen to strength training your Kindolf? No, he's back to being a 5. Yeah, he's back to being a 5. And also my Infernander is gonna trigger. We're not playing this Kindolf game. Kick rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't get the feedback. It is powerful. It's powerful in the sense that like with certain decks, again, I think for an Infernander deck, it's great.
For a Magibee deck, it is also great.
It is also great for Magibee.
Listen, there are so many people playing Might that this card feeling too powerful is bonkers to me. This card feels like an answer for Might. The ability to reset that +5 power, Ignition that your opponent hit with their Volt Rock. I don't know why it would be too powerful. Like, it's just a great answer. And yes, we always say like, oh, every card is good, but like, it being too powerful confuses me because the card is a direct answer to things that were too powerful last time, some of which are still on the list. Well, is this an answer to those things, or is it too powerful? If it was too powerful, why are those things still perceived as too powerful? You know what I mean? Like, if this was really that powerful, you wouldn't be overvaluing the Might stuff as much as you are, What's next, guys?
Momentum shift.
Oh. We've known this is overpowered from day one, Gareth.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's the support or if it's just the play effect.
No, it was the play effect. I'm looking at the notes. The play effect 2 times was, and when I say 2 times, I don't mean the same person twice. I mean by 2 different people. I assume it's the swing, right? You leave your familiar alone in a field. You've finally juiced up your Rapture or something, and your opponent's like, "Yeah, why don't you give me that +6 power, and why don't you go home?" Yeah, that doesn't feel good. Why was your powered up familiar there and unprotected? The card has speed on the play, guys. It's a 2-coster with speed. It has a really good effect, but it's a 2-coster with speed. A lot to commit to a card with speed. So yes, the swing has to be big. And the support effect can't be overpowered because block goes away at the end of the round. So you can block a different familiar every round or the same familiar every round. I don't really care. But it's, The block goes away. The block goes away. So it's a starter deck card. It does speak to why everyone should own at least 6 copies of the starter deck. You know, because all of these really powerful starter deck cards, guys. Gotta have enough copies of these staples.
Gotta have them.
All right, we're talking about some.
No one uses summoning, so this comment is offensive to me just on its face.
I once again am not sure I have played against this.
You pay 2, and you pull a 3 power now Turpian out of your deck for 2. And then you have to discard a card randomly from your hand. How is that overpowered?
I did play against it once. It was not overpowered.
You play summoning and pull out a 1 power Rapture that KOs everything wild in its field. And then powers up and gets back.
And you discard a random card from your
You have to discard a card randomly from your hand.
random card from your hand. Oh no, that card you were definitely going to use is all gone now.
So you can't really play this before your 0-costers, because you can't risk discarding your 0-costers. That's insanity. Can't risk playing this before your piece cards that set up your strategy. So, like, summoning is a really good card to cheat out things that you don't care about. And, you know, Randy and I have talked about this. Summoning is best used, in the current card pool, summoning is best used when you're playing, like, Ferocity Special. And your beautiful Glaciafly, Sammy, this is a summoning Blisterno type of vibe. And then this is a Take Flight, the card you discarded, as a resource type of vibe. And this is a Glaciafly resets whatever creature you summoned that got -2 power.
Funny enough, I do 100% think it was Blisterno that got yanked in the one time I played against.
Yeah, if you're playing in a way where you can reset it, like with Glaciafly or reset spell, you're golden. And it's great. But no, that one really threw me for a loop because there was actually only one deck that used it. And so I assume this was like very edge case. But this is not the second tournament in a row someone has complained about summoning. So I will assume out of like the 5 games someone played, 4 of them summoning did not pop off and 1 of them summoning did.
Fascinating.
Right? Like 4 of the games it was either or it was good. And then 1 of the games it was like, boom. That was the game right there. Summoning. You got.
Yeah. I just don't. I don't.
Did we want to do anything about summoning, Gareth?
No, I'm good with that one.
Second favorite piece of art in the game, just so everyone's aware. Migrant pouncing on Hydrofin. It just gets me. It just gets me every time. If you look at the Hydrofin's face on the card where he's like, absolute classic.
I like the
Rat?
one and can KO 3 of your 4 your own ferocity familiars, but yet it's overpowered.
But it doesn't KO the Rapture. So that's why it's overpowered, because it works with the other Rapture. It turns out they, in packs, are really.
Oh, is that what the complaint is?
Wait,
Rapture.
is that because they're dinosaurs, like they're raptors, or?
It's because they're clever girls.
Yeah.
Clever girls. I felt like a failure. Yeah. Side tangent, I felt like a failure as a parent. My son did not understand that reference. Oh, we've got some stuff to do.
Got some research.
The funny part is he's seen all of like the sequel, the World trilogy. He's seen the like Netflix cartoonish TV show.
Yep.
He's seen like the video game where you build your own park. Like again, he's in the medium, but he hasn't went back to number one and seen like the glass of water and the clever girl. Like when I say hold on to your butts, he doesn't get it, you know?
So, what's your thought of the Rapture?
I don't get this one. Like it has that massive downside of having to make sure you don't have wild creatures where you're gonna play it, or you're okay with chomping them.
Usually you're okay with chomping.
Usually you're okay with it, but it's still just yeah, okay. It's pretty good. You can really mess up somebody if they're all wild in a field. But I definitely wouldn't go overpowered with it because it starts pretty low for a 3.
Because it can't even it can't even KO the Chrism.
That's just rude. That's really.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. We know how valuable familiar removal is. And this card KOs Tornado, Snydro, Glaciafly, Tarantula, Owlusion, Trossum, and every mirror image that Trossum has put out. Which Rapture ally into a Trossum field of mirror images. You're just eating good. And then, yes, Infernander, Magiby, and the Skyson. So, like, it KOs over half of the current familiar pool. Is there another removal piece in the game that has the upside? I know what you're saying. It's a 3-power ally for 3. That's not good. But the upside, again, the ceiling of the card, and then every time a creature is KO'd in its field, you're juicing it up and re-giving it block.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's bad. I absolutely see what it's capable of. I just don't think it's overpowered.
Well, yeah, because now let's go into the other side of the matchup, right? The rock, paper, scissors thing you brought up. Your opponent is playing a Badu Kindolf deck. Karachik is not wild. Ignition is not wild. Croshan is not wild. Adult is not wild. We just start like going through the creatures here. And a lot of Tortu and Might is not wild. Breezolf is not wild. Like you just start like rolling through the creatures and you're like, wow, like nothing in your deck is wild. Why is this card in my deck? And therein lies the rub. There's the downside. I love the Rapture ally. And if you asked me which card makes it into more Ferocity decks for me than any other, it is actually the Rapture ally. But not because he's overly powerful. He goes in there because I love the dinosaurs. That's it. That's same thing, Sammy, you said about the draft. Is it the best Might 1-cost Tamer card? I have no idea. I just really like the draft.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, it's like, is he the best 3-cost like ally I can put in those decks? Sometimes no. I just really like having dinosaurs, guys. Okay?
Yeah.
Just let me have my
100%.
dinosaurs. As a human adult man, I want to be able to put in my dinosaur toys and play with my dinosaur toys, okay?
100%.
That's it. That's all I got.
Sam, you want to talk about the last?
Yeah, you can lead into the last one.
We are on to our very last card. Yes, indeed.
I've said more than enough about this card. I'll not say anything about it. Yeah, everyone knows my
This
face.
card has never been discussed at all at any point, but we've got a judge's decree here. It is in fact broken. I'm going to say I have won games because my opponent played judge's decree.
That's why it's broken.
So I don't really think it's broken.
But that's why.
Like, it is strong. You need to be prepared for it if you're playing against Ferocity. Like, it is a card that can really mess up your day, but be prepared. Just play around it.
Yeah, as Scar told us.
Sorry, yeah. But yeah, I mean, is it a very good card in the right situation? Yeah, but can it absolutely mess you up? Yup.
No.
You being the person playing it.
We've talked about Judging Grace so much. I can't even stand this card.
Okay. But yeah, playing a random card. It's definitely a feast or famine type card type of.
Yep. Yeah, it's another one of those with a really wild ceiling versus floor.
Yeah, the floor is your opponent wins, and the ceiling is you.
Yeah. I mean, that's it.
Most people find it somewhere in between of like, I stopped the bleeding or I won more fields this round than I lost.
Yeah.
That's fine. So yeah, let that be a closing the book on Lops event number 1 for series 1. We had a great time. It was a great time, great oldies. Cool 108. We had it was amazing.
Indeed. Indeed.
Thank you all for participating.
Woo! It was fun. We don't really have a massive mailbag. I threw it out there. You may have thought it was a joke, but I was serious. Question number 1. Are we pro or anti candy corn around here?
Go ahead.
I mean, I answered and then I was told not to answer, so I took my answer back. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a. It's really cool for decorations. Like if you want to decorate some art, I kind of look at candy corn, especially around the fall season, similar to like when kids would bring home like macaroni art. I've seen a lot of candy corn. Maybe that's because my wife works with kids a lot. But I have seen candy corn used similar to the macaroni art, and so it's a good art piece, But yeah, no, as far as for candy, not a huge.
It's not even close to the same thing. I can't even begin to tell you how wrong you are about candy corn.
I assumed we would disagree.
So candy corn gets a bad rap, guys. Candy corn is, for those of you who do not know, how is candy corn made?
I don't.
Butter, it's honey, it's sugar, it's vanilla. The coup de grace, though, is that there's marshmallow fondant in it.
That makes sense.
So, if you don't understand the power of candy corn, please understand that candy corn is fantastic. Now, I personally will tell you guys, I don't really eat candy. I drink and have drank an excessive amount of pop for a lot of my life. And when I say pop, I mean soda, because pop is derived from soda pop. Soda is the first word there. I already get all my sugar. I do not need to add candy onto that. I would be diabetic. Okay? So I don't really eat candy, but I will come to the defense of candy corn for the misses in that it is, compared to every other candy, less damaging for you health-wise. Most candy corn, especially made in the US, is actually made with all natural honey. Can you name me the other candy that you put into your body that's made with natural honey? You can't. Stop lying. So that's all I will say is like candy corn is great. It is less bad than most other candy. If you don't like it, oh well. But if I had to eat candy, it would be something like Reese's related. or candy corn would be on the list of acceptable candy.
I love candy corn. I'm a big pro candy.
Oh, and I just gave you a reason to defend it. All
I
natural honey, marshmallow
with
fondant.
my
You're welcome.
life from here on out. Yep.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, this gets because I always have some on my desk at the office every once it starts showing up at in droves for fall and everything. And so it always brings up the ew, or the oh yeah, candy corn. Like the
Anyone saying usually say it has a waxy taste because they don't understand that most candy that's less bad for you shouldn't taste like a Twix or a Snickers or whatever. And that's usually confusion. Like when I was in the UK, oddly, they have a lot of different candy corns there. Again, it's made with honey. It's made with marshmallow fondant. Like they have a lot over there. It is what it is. I'll defend candy corn for you, Sammy.
Fair enough. I love
I
it.
got your-
All right, we had a question. A lot of this got talked about last time. I didn't know if y'all wanted to get into more. Shockwave was asking for more thoughts on the concept of changing the release cadence for the sets, if there was anything to add to that discussion.
Is there, or do we want to do that next podcast with Randy? We can dig into it next time, Gareth, if we want. But
We can drop to be continued there.
The idea of doing one set a year is appealing, but that's not like the hard and only path that we have. I will say that. I will just say and I'll speak for Gareth and Randy here. The conversation that kind of devolved in Discord was like, well, if the choice is between 4 series or 1 set, we would rather have 4 series. There is no choice of doing 4 series, guys. Without Artiforge, doing 4 series is genuinely impossible. So there is no, we're doing 4 series a set. That's literally not possible. For us to do it, it would, just like doing napkin math, have required us to have like 6 times the funding we've gotten on every campaign would need to be the minimum moving forward. Like, if I told you logistically and financially, it's easier for us to make set 1 as a whole than it is for us to make the next 3 series. Saying, oh, if we can't even do a series, I don't know how we would do a set, makes no sense. Because it's not the same thing. For us or for potential people who aren't in the Discord, it's not the same thing. So, I can highlight, I can preview, or Gareth, do you want to? And we can turn this into the podcast next week. Next podcast.
Yeah, I would say let's break it into the podcast and be the main talking points.
Yeah. So we're going to just preview for a moment the next podcast. You will have a chance to listen and weigh in as the community. The conversations that are being had is 1 set in 1 release, and you can do there's a ton of stuff we have to support it and move through the year. Or we take that 1 set as like a block and we split it into just 2. And so you basically would have a release every like 6 months or something like that. And that would be very similar to like if a set is 220 to 230 cards, splitting it into set 2 part A or set 2 part B, you would have, 115, 120 cards. And then move on. Because again, the priorities that we kind of highlighted with draft and limited and and limiting the amount of SKUs we have and all of these things, all of those That'll be the topic next week, and we'll have Randy on as
Sounds good. So, Shockwave, great question. We'll get back to you. Mario fan had the stunning question that I adored. Is water wet?
No.
I agree. Why is
I don't remember. I just know that water is not.
water makes things wet? Water isn't wet. It is water being on something that makes the thing wet. That is my take.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, okay. Yeah, I mean that yes, water is not wet. Garrett, did you not answer that yes in the thing? Pretty sure you
I
said
did.
yes.
I did, but Sam just blew my mind, and I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense.
I did notice that no one had anything to say, by the way, about art that was teased that no one has seen a card for.
I said kitty and you said no. I did not say 8-leg.
I even
This is
quoted.
not a
I
spider.
even quoted, and then you corrected me.
And then look,
I literally quoted the lore.
like, what's that the alternate for? You should know.
A fish.
What? Which one is the fish?
I can't see your camera.
I'm just being ridiculous at this point. I'm being real.
What is this?
Doggy?
What's this?
Natloth. I can tell that one for sure.
What card is that?
Burning.
What card is burning? Oh,
You'll have to send these to me later. I'm having technical
Here's-
issues and can't
here's,
see.
here's a preview. What card is that?
Oh, I don't know.
That's an alpha. Spoiler for an alpha.
I'm in. Put me down for 2.
There you go. What could that be the alternate for?
Oh, probably nothing.
The moth. It's a broken, overpowered moth.
That's exciting.
All right, what else?
That is exciting. I actually had one other question that I prepared, but I actually think that it would be better suited also waiting for next time. So I am going to punt this question for the next podcast.
Is it because it's about series stuff?
It is not, but I feel like it'll tie in somewhat well with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and save that one. So that ends our mail.
All right.
Are we out of here for the week, huh?
I believe we might be. Do either of y'all have anything else to throw out there before we close this thing up?
I got nothing.
Go follow the Kickstarter. I've got that. You should. You should absolutely do that. But other than that, I think that wraps us up. This has been Tamer Talk. I've been Samuel Graham Does TCGs, and with me has been.
I've not been about the whole time.
G.
Love it. Y'all have a good one. Bye, y'all.